then go and use your crystals. And I'm like, my crystals? You see, go and use your crystals and stop complaining. It sounded a bit absurd to me. It sounded a bit weird to me. And I remembered that somebody had given me crystals in a bowl. And so I slithered and slid to the place after I woke up. And I held the crystals in my hand and said, this guy said, use the crystals. It was vivid. And I placed the crystals on my feet. I placed them around my legs at the same time. And in a matter of seconds, my legs started to vibrate like a tambourine. It started to vibrate. And then after about 5-10 minutes of energetic vibration, it came to a sudden end. I was shocked. I tried lifting the left leg. It lifted, no pain. Right leg lifted, no pain. I got up, I stood erect, I walked up and down, and I had been completely healed in a matter of minutes using crystals, and I was shocked. I told myself, who will I tell this experience that they will believe me? And then, so like about a few days later, a friend of mine comes into my office in that same GRA and says that she's going to Luth for an operation, and she has goiter. And she's really scared of operations and doesn't want to operate and all of that. And I tell her about my experience. And I said, okay, well, why don't we pray about it and see what life has to offer us in terms of this new thing that I've just been permitted to chance upon. And she says, okay. And that same person that showed up the first time came and said, make a belt, put crystals in it, hang it around her neck, and then she'll be fine. So when she came the next morning, I just very childlikely told her, and I said, this is my experience, I had a dream and we we're going to make you a belt and put the energies around your neck and then put crystals around your neck. And if you wear it, let's see how it goes. And she was open and receptive. She's very much alive today. She testifies to this thing very openly. And she wore this thing for 3 days only, between Monday and Thursday. And then she arrived in Luth on Friday to see the surgeons who were to start her thyroid operation and everything. And when they sent her in for her last review, they were pleasantly shocked to realize that the goiter had completely disappeared and there are no traces. And they were arguing amongst themselves and they had to sit her down and say, look, we're sure you had this issue. What happened? How was it that in the next 3 days, it has completely disappeared? And she told them that, oh, I use crystals. At this point in time, they laughed and said, okay, well, whatever it is that you used, go ahead and use it, all well and good. But we're happy to tell you that you're certified free of this goiter. And that's how she was saved from the rigors of having to go on with life. Now, that was my initiation into crystals. Now, when this happened, I realized that I had a journey to undertake in this thing. And I said, okay, well, I was going to start collecting crystals, knowing about crystals. This was one experience I had to share. And I had been privileged, so much insight into this thing. And so when I opened up myself, for the third and for the last time, this man that I saw my dreams appeared to me and gave me what he called the rules of engagement that you must apply when you are using crystals. And if you're to apply those rules of engagement, then crystals will work for you in the best ways possible. And so I enumerate them. I have it on a sheet of paper here. I'll be reading from it. It says the first thing is gratitude. That a person who is using crystals must show that he is capable of gratitude. He must at every point in time tell himself that this is a gift from the Almighty. And this gift from the Almighty is something that he must express childlike gratitude for. That he wakes up in the morning and says, this gift of light that I know about, I am thankful for it. It's from the Almighty. And for that reason, that this person that's come into my life, I understand it and I'm happy. That's the first rule of engagement. There must be gratitude that you've come across this resource, this gift that the Almighty has given you, and you're happy to ensure that in your everyday life, you show gratitude for these energies that course through your very being. The second one is openness and love. You must be very open. There's so many things that life throws at you. You can't at any point in time tell yourself that you can anticipate any particular experience. But the most important thing is that in those experiences, you must always come out with love, even if the experience is bitter. You don't come out and say you're angry, and for that reason, you transmute your pain into anger and bitterness and all of that. No, it's everything. Everything is born of love. The universe is not but love. So you must always transmute your experiences into love and not allow any form of negativity to seep into your very core. The third one, you must be as giving as the guardians of these crystals. These crystals give, I told you before that they receive light, they transmit light. And for the reason that they just give and they give abundantly, the same thing with the trees and the herbs in nature, the human being must also be a giver of light, of goodness, of virtue. And if you embody that principle while using crystals, the crystal energies that will be manifest in your life will be greatly amplified. I continue. The user must not be possessed of negativity or bad thoughts. How many of us can really wake up in the morning and say that we're not happy, sad? I mean, say we're not depressed or angry at a certain situation. So many things are coursing through you, so many experiences through the day. And so you wake up and you find out that many a time you're not happy in situations, and then you become consumed by the energies of those happenings. So we must tell ourselves that it's not normal, it's not nice for the individual to find himself possessed of any form of negativity. As much as possible, ensure that you're devoid of hatred, devoid of anger, devoid of anything that is not on a spectrum that is positive. The next point, crystals cannot be used for evil. Anybody who ever has the mind that he will use a crystal for an evil intent or purpose has made a big mistake. If ever tries that, the energies will return to him manifold, and it's the wrong application of the neutral power. It's a very interesting list that I was given, and I would share it with the house. And it says, if others are in need of them, give it to them. Give the same way those crystals have come your way. If you find others in need of those crystals, give these people these crystals to use, and let them experience the same joy that you have experience from them, so that they can also form a conviction and then help others. Then it says, before you even give your crystals to another person or say, oh, come and use this, make sure that you're thoroughly acquainted with that crystal and its energy. In other words, make sure that you have used the crystal and you have a conviction based on your own personal experience. I won't give another person Panadol for a stroke, for instance, because I know that Panadol does not address the stroke, or I know that maybe honey will not address malaria and all of that. So you develop a conviction based on your own personal usage. And when you have that personal usage, you may then transfer this knowledge to the next person. The next thing I was told is money is not the first consideration of crystals. Most people, even miners and the rest of it, they go into crystals for profit purposes, which isn't altogether wrong. But if you understand that these resources themselves have properties that are much, much higher than this money you make from them, you first and foremost engage them with respect. When you're mining, you will know the rules of engagement, of going down to a mine and not degrading the environment. You will know that you do not steal when you're having crystals with you, because these are energies that come back at you almost instantly. So you find a lot of mining sites with a lot of degradation, and in those same places you find killings taking place and all sorts of greeds, because these crystals are actually amplifiers of energy. They pick your energies and they throw it back at you and amplify it, and they make you miserable. So what's the essence of having money if you're not happy? Or you say you are this, and the accountants does not show a person who has any form of luminosity whatsoever. Next, it says, do not entertain thoughts of fear. That's also a very negative emotion. Experience what is good for you. And sometimes when the crystal has done its work, it just disappears and you'll find the crystal again. And lastly, beware of conflicting energies. Choose the stone that you're mature for. In other words, not every crystal can resonate with you. If you have a low energy and you apply yourself to a crystal that's of a very high frequency, you might find yourself being unable to sleep, for instance. And if you're with a crystal that does not resonate with your ambition at that point in time, like for instance, you want to rest and you engage a crystal that has the energy of momentum and that keeps you going, then you're using the wrong crystal. So in other words, you must be familiar with crystals and their uses. And then remember that when you're applying yourself to the study of crystals or to the experience of crystals, intuition and openness is friendlier and more accurate than study or erudition. One can spend a lifetime reading books and it is said it does this, it does that. But what you experience becomes yours. You can always tell yourself that, okay, well, through my personal experience, I know that this crystal does this. And nobody can come and stand in your place and tell you something else, because through your personal experience, you have come through and understood what crystals represent. And how do you then know when a crystal is good for you? It's important that we also mention this in passing, because people ask themselves, or even ask me sometimes, okay, I need a crystal. What do you think I should use? And I would say, if you see crystals in a table, in an environment somewhere, choose the crystal that calls you. It's more likely than ever that you're in need of that energy that the crystal is spectrating, is radiating out. And that is why that particular crystal is calling you. It's called the intuitive method of choosing crystals. Another way you can know if your crystal is good for you or not is when you're going to bed, you can keep it under your bed, under your pillow. And if you find out that you're at peace, you don't have bad dreams and all of that, and you're okay, then the crystal is at a frequency that you can actually work with. You're fine with that. And then lastly, you ask yourself, are you naturally drawn to it? Are you naturally drawn to this crystal, or is it something that somebody just forced upon you? There must be an allure. Something must say, okay, well, let me bring this thing to myself. Other forms of science, like the energy practitioners, will actually say you could go into muscle testing, where you actually hold the crystal in one hand and you see whether or not it goes with the energetics of your body. And so you can find out that there are different ways in which you can actually engage a crystal. But for the person who is just starting off, who wants to just go into the world of crystals, let him apply the very natural way of just feeling his own acceptance to the energies that are coming his own way. And the next thing now is, now that you have a crystal, what next? What do you want to do with this crystal? How is it meant to heal you? Are there any rules beyond, okay, only the crystal? How do I have a headache, I have asthma, I have something. How is this crystal meant to come in and start working in that direction? Well, you must first of all know that crystals need to be cared for. They're actually rules of engaging crystals. The first thing you do when you have a crystal, I told you that they absorb energy, they transmit energy. So in other words, wherever or whoever the crystal has passed through, if the person has very dense or very negative vibrations and he's using that crystal, the crystal absorbs energy, sometimes to sponge it away from him, sometimes to help the person, but the crystal now becomes that embodiment of that energy that it has sponged from another person. So if a person, for instance, has a lot of depression and has been very sad and he's used a particular crystal, let's even mention a crystal that's good for depression. Let's use like lepidolite, for instance, or even fluorite, and he has used for a while. That crystal will absorb that energy to a point where it's heavy. And before another person can get to use that crystal, the first thing he should do is to cleanse the crystal. Never bring a crystal into your space that has not been cleansed. There's so many things that can go wrong when you bring in negative energy into your space. Even when you bring human beings that are not good into your space, funny things can happen. You can bring objects that are not yours into your space, and funny things will happen. Now, this is something that absorbs energy, and it has been to markets, it's been different places. So the first thing you do respectfully is to cleanse your crystals. You tell yourself, okay, well, I have a new crystal now. I'm bringing it home. What do I do? And there's so many ways of cleansing crystals, and there's a lot of information out there. I'll share a little bit of this information with you, because cleansing can be done with very natural substances. You have one of the most potent, stronger ways of cleansing crystals is just using very common sea salt. If it's a crystal that can be put in water, You soak your crystals in water, you keep it in salt overnight, and the next day it's ready to go. However, I don't always prescribe this method to people who are novices or amateurs in crystals because certain crystals are bad with water. Malachite doesn't like water. Selenite will dissolve in water. Calcite will dissolve in water. So let's assume that, okay, we don't have the knowledge of the crystals that are good with water. Some even fade with salt. Lapis lazuli does not like salt at all, doesn't like water. So you can destroy a crystal completely when you use salt. But if you do know the crystals that can do water, all well and good. But as a safe recourse, you can actually just put dry sea salt on a platter and place your crystals directly on them for like 24 hours and to discharge all the negative energies. You can also use the indirect method. You can put it in a glass. And it's okay, I don't want my crystals to touch the salt at all. You put it in the glass and place that glass in a container of salt, and through a secondary effect, it will still cleanse it of the negative energies. That's one of the very easy, very accessible ways of cleansing crystals. Another method of cleansing crystals is just water. You can just take a crystal, you can take a soda light and run it on the water for a few minutes and visualize energy, stream light towards the crystal, keep it there for a while, rotate it around. You're sending energy. Everything you do always has an energy connotation to it, and you're surrounded with light and love and everything. You cleanse it and you put it away, and you'll feel the vibration of the crystal change. Sometimes crystals even change color when you're using it. So water is a very powerful resource. Water retains energy. Water is very strong. In fact, we have not started using water yet. The hexagonal structure of water, when water is really water, it has a very strong healing effect. So we can use water. Another substance, which is a very well-known cleanser that people use in their homes to cleanse negative energy, is sage. There's a leaf called sage. I think I have a bundle here. This is sage. When you burn sage and you smudge it, and the smoke that comes out of the sage, you just take the crystal and you wrap it around the smoke. You burn in the crystal, you burn in the sage, and then as the smoke comes out, you wrap it around, and then you feel the crystal until it becomes very light. A lot of the time, when I'm permitted to actually sage my crystals, I actually see them change color. And other forms of sage are things like incense as well. You can also use incense if you don't have sage, because sage is not readily available here. You can also decide to use incense and burn incense around. It also gets the thing rid of negative energy. Some people are so very good at these things that they can actually even use visualization. They can actually decide to look at a crystal and send light to it, but that's a bit not for starters. So let's not say that we're going to do that as well. But let's say the smudging, the water. You keep it under the full moon. The full moon, nature has a recommended cycle of 30 days. The full moon is so potent. The full moon cleanses and charges crystals. If and whenever you see a full moon, make use of it, because the full moon is an amplifier of energy. So you want to step into the full moon with best of your intentions. If unfortunately you have a lot of bad thoughts, or you're tending towards depression or one thing or the other, and you step into the full moon, this full moon just amplifies it. And that's why during the time of the full moon, we have a lot of people who go into depression and go into very sad energies, because they have not done their best to actually lift their vibrations before that time. And we've mentioned a few things that lift your vibrations. You must be very forgiving, very loving, very understanding, and very accepting of what the universe has to bring your way. These are a few methods. A few people can also bury their crystals. It also has that effect of cleansing. Now let's talk about, so once you've cleansed it, and there are many other methods that you can also find out. I won't go extensively into all of the topics, because we want to touch upon a few things that will give us general ideas of how crystals work. When you have cleansed that crystal, it's okay, wow, this crystal is there now. I have it cleansed. It's an energy I love and everything. What next? Is okay, you want to charge it. You want to ensure that crystal gives you the highest and the best radiation it has to offer. And so you tell yourself that this energy that has received a cleansing, a bath now wants to come out and work for you. Let's give it energy. Now, like it's like charging a battery. Just imagine charging the battery and how well your devices will do with a charged battery. It's the same thing with this thing called a crystal. You want it to really serve you, and you ask yourself, what are the things that charge crystals? one of the most natural, strongest, most potent ways of charging crystals is to keep it in the sun. The sun is mankind's most potent battery. Without the sun, there's no life on Earth. The plants, the earth, all forms of life need that energy from the sun. They need the cosmic radiations from the sun, even beyond the physically palpable energy. They need the portals of energy that come in through the sun to actually keep us very much alive. So crystals actually love the sun. When you keep it in the sun, maybe early morning sunshine for a few hours, it's fantastic. Some crystals don't like being in the sun for too long; they fade. Rose quartz would fade on the sun. Amethyst would fade if you keep it on direct sunlight. So it is best you don't keep it under extreme sunlight. And even better at all, that the crystals that don't even like to be kept under the sunlight. Some would obviously always prefer the moon, and that's why the moon is actually, for me, my preferred way of charging crystals, for the simple fact that it doesn't have the coarseness of that energy, but it is exceedingly strong. It is very, very strong. Now, as this cosmos would have it, there are also some crystals that are very, very, very potently strong. They're crystals that possess exceptionally high vibrations. Crystals like selenite, the diamond, citrine. I'm sure you hear of these crystals in the course of mining. Citrine is a very common crystal around here. It's yellow. It's a sacral chakra crystal. It's very, very, very strong. Now, when you have that kind of crystal in your collection, because these crystals are self-cleansing and they're self-charging, all you need to do is have one of those crystals and then put other crystals around it. And for the fact that you have those crystals that have those exceptionally high frequencies, your other crystals around there are guaranteed to charge. For that purpose, I brought a selenite castle. This is selenite. It has one of the highest frequencies in terms of crystals, works on the 7 chakras and everything. If I tell myself that, okay, well, I can't go through the processes of going through all of this, I can decide to put crystals around the selenite base and to keep it constantly charged and even cleansed. The diamond also does that, but I don't think I have diamonds to do that at this point in time. It's be pretty expensive to also try and put crystals there. And then we have crystal formations called geodes and clusters. Clusters are aggregates of crystals that form points. They're receiving points because points receive energy, and they have immense. This is a cluster. I'm sure you see different clusters, different formations. They attract a lot of energy. They're very strong all the time. They're receiving energy through their points, and so it's like a battery, a storehouse of energy. So by simply placing a crystal on this, I've achieved the purpose of charging it. So it's nice to have your clusters around. Clusters are very important charging methods of crystals. And if you have that, you're just fantastic. Some people bury crystals in the soil, like I said earlier, and they're just happy to come back the next morning and find out that the soil has charged the crystals of the plants and everything. And the elementals of the earth, the healing energy of the earth have come back and decided to do that too. In terms of frequencies too, you can also charge crystals, and I find that's one of my favorite ways of charging crystals. When I want to charge crystals and I'm very happy, I take my tuning fork or my chime and I just bam, bam, just ring very sonorous chime, frequency, and it just bubbles into the lattice structures of the crystals and gives it its highest vibration. So bells, tuning forks, and all of that can actually charge crystals too. So you have yourself at a point where you can choose one of so many different methods of charging crystals, and you'll be very happy. And so what happens next now that you have cleansed your crystal, you have charged your crystal, and you say, okay, what next on this crystal? Okay, the first you want to dedicate the crystal. It's okay. Well, I know about the gift, this resource of the Almighty that has been given to us so happily and so kindly by the Lord, and so I have consciously decided to cleanse it of the energies to try to now to dedicate it. I'm a son of the light. I'm a child of the Almighty. I'm a Christian. I'm a Muslim. I practice love unconditionally, and I have an affinity for my fellow human spirits. I can't retain negative energy, and I can't give out negative energy, and so I'm an embodiment of light. So I tell myself, okay, well, this crystal, I'm going to dedicate this crystal. So I can pick up maybe my agate crystal here, and say, okay, well, first thing I collect myself the energies. It's very important to be able to hold a crystal and feel the energy. You won't, with time, when you practice holding crystals, you almost instantly feel the energy of the crystals coursing through you. You can even detect fake crystals when you start to feel energy, because almost instantly there's an energy, the frequency of the crystal emits an energy. And if you have sensitive, a sensitive body structure, a sensitive organ system, or sensitive energy system, you can feel crystals. And this can be achieved by people who go into crystals, because crystals are all about energies. When you constantly use crystals, especially if you use them to cleanse yourself or to heal yourself, or you keep them in your pockets and things like that, these crystals come into your space and they find a way of making you very sensitive, because it's all about energy. So you dedicate your crystal. I tell myself, okay, this crystal that I have here, this agate, I'm going to use you for the highest good. This is, I dedicate you to the service of the Most High, and I shall use it for the highest good. And then the last thing you want to do is to program your crystal. I tell myself, okay, well, so I have a crystal that has been cleansed, that's been charged, that has been dedicated. And now I want to put the crystal to use. Okay, I have a heart issue. Maybe I have a heart defect, and the heart defect tells me that my heart chakra is not functioning properly, my green light is insufficient, and I can tell myself, okay, I'm going to pick up a green crystal and use that green crystal to cure. This is a green crystal. Sometimes the energy of green is fantastic. You can wear it as a handband too. You can wear it as a pendant. I'm wearing a pendant of spirit quartz. I wear different crystals all the time, but it all depends on what I want to achieve the crystal. So I take the crystal and I say, well, this crystal, I know that you do this. I'm aware of your properties, and I would like to use you to heal my heart. I don't have enough green in my heart here. And so you're engaging a very polite command. You're asking the Almighty Universe to lend you the energy of the crystals. You follow the rules of engagement. You're not giving out negative energies here. And say, okay, well, can we work in sync, in harmony? And I want the green light of your crystal, the soothing energy of crystal, to work on my heart chakra. And when you wear it, over time, it restores the lost energy of that energy center, and eventually your heart is healed, or heals of whatever deficiency there is there. And then it also implies, therefore, that if you have a crystal and you want to give it to another person who's ill, you can decide to go through the entire process and program it for that person. Okay, I have a sister has nephritis, or she has cancer, one thing or the other, and I program all these things. I said, okay, well, please, I really would love you to go in there and use your energy to heal Lagbaja. She has this issue. I'll be very happy if the beings can come in there and send us the energies and all that. Everything's a very natural process. There's no high and fast way to this thing. It's just, it's the more natural you are, the more easily will you be able to attune yourself to these energies. And the more with the crystal beams, the energy of the crystals reveal their secrets. I'll use the word secrets to you. Science has so many classifications and so many things that they understand that crystals do. But I tell you, there's a lot more. There's a lot more. Don't limit yourself to what the books have. Your highest engagements with any discourse is when you can take it to the level of intuition and start to engage at the level that you start to hear within yourself how you're to go about certain processes. Some people practice medicine by saying, okay, well, when there's malaria, give them this capsule, give them this injection. And so 1,000 people are coming every day, and they're just prescribing the same medication for the person. So the person's coming to see them. That's not medicine. That's not medicine. There's so many things that could cause malaria. The person could be exposed to mosquitoes. He could have a depressed immune system. He could be engaging in the wrong emotions, and then you just come there and you prescribe a uniform thing. The medical science does that all the time, and when you do that, you're not really helping your patients, and you're taking what should exist, the art of healing. You're taking it from the spirit to the intellect, and healing is an art. It's not an intellect form. So you should be conscious of how you decide to engage the art of healing with crystals, and because you will get to a point where you'll be so privileged that the crystal beings, I use the word crystal beings, or the crystal energies, will lend themselves to you in very fascinating ways, And of course, much as we speak about crystals as well, and how we're going to go into their uses and how you can specifically apply them, you must also know that crystals can also be made into essences too, where you can place them in water, and then they will send that same energy into the water, which you can drink and which you can have your bath with, and which you can sprinkle your compound, which is fantastic for your plants, which is fantastic for your aquarium, fantastic for your animals, and all of that. So the energies just keep on radiating. Wherever they go, they just keep on sending lights. So if you're tuned to what they can be used for, you'll be shocked at just how many things that this crystal energy can engage. Now, crystals in nature, they occur in many different forms and shapes. Some come round and spherical, some come cube shapes, some are pyramidal, some are egg shaped, some are pointed, some are double pointed, some are twinned, some are faceted, some are tumbled. Now, I don't want to speak too much grammar. Let's not be speaking like we're just speaking stories here. Let's start to show you what we mean, A pyramid, I mean, we're conversing about what a pyramid is. This is a pyramid. This is a quartz pyramid. It's a crystal. Pyramids receive light. A pyramid is a very strong receiver of light. At this point, it receives the energy, and through the different parts of the crystal, energy is brought down. As a matter of fact, this is the secret to why you have pyramids on Earth all over the world, under the sea as well, in Egypt. It's not just in Egypt you have pyramids in every continent. They actually received, there were energy centers that were energy points that received a lot of light, that was to be used by the people who were able to absorb these energies consciously for deployment as normal human beings. And I use the word normal human beings because you must understand that the man of today is not in the least bit normal. The man of today has embodied another crystal, this another pyramid, lovely forms of pyramids, black, all sorts of colors. The man of today is a very distorted creature. He has embodied so many wrong principles. He doesn't even know if he's a man or a woman most times. He can tell you he's lesbian, he's gay, he's bisexual, he's distorted, he's one thing or the other. So many new things have come into being which were not there a few hundred years ago because of wrong principles, wrong experimentation, and cutting yourself off from what was willed in the very beginning. And there are always consequences to wrong courses. We can be giving you a free will, you can take a free decision, but the consequences are just always irrevocable. You have consequences to every decision you take. It's like waking up and saying, I take Coke all the time. I'm building diabetes for myself. I have a right to take the Coke, but what happens when you continually take the Coke down the line, they become distorted. So the human being today is not really what it should be in terms of his energetics. He's a confused medley of wrong emotions, wrong principles, and we need to really get it right. And this is the center of the discourse today, because getting the human being back to what he's meant to be is what healing is really all about. But I digressed. We're talking about the shapes of crystals, so I'll go back here before we continue. You have the pyramids that bring down light and all of that, and these are very strong. You have those that are egg-shaped. This is a hematite, very good for the blood, very good for back pain and the rest. So this is hematite. And when you have crystals of this shape, they emit energy in many different directions, very smoothly and uniformly. They're very lovely to caress and to hold. They're uniform in terms of the way they give out their energies. And this is the hematite crystal. You have the cube. You'd be shocked to know that there are crystals that actually exist in the earth that come in a perfect cube form. So this is a cube crystal. This is sort of like has been fashioned to a cube now. And the cubical crystals center the individual, people that need to be grounded, people who float a lot, people who have ideas and they can't bring them to being. When you have the cubic form of the crystal, it centers the human being. And then you have sometimes people talking about raw versus polished crystals. Crystals can be tumbled. They have tumble machines that make them smooth and beautiful and a delight to hold and all of that. They can be placed in your pockets. They can be placed under your pillow. They can be worn in many ways. But when you have it in this tumbled form, It's also very restrictive of some of his energies. It's calm and just keeps on building up and seeps in your system very gradually, like a pill that's systemically releasing what it needs to heal you. But when you have the raw crystal, sometimes you have a crystal that's raw. That is raw energy that's hitting you. The strongest crystals are the crystals that are kept raw because the fire is undimmed and kept the way it is. And nature is such a wonderful doctor. Even in the shapes and the forms of the crystals, you discover the different things that the crystals can do. Like for instance, at the clinic here, when we're doing crystal healing, we use wands. This is a naturally occurring wand, for instance. You can see that it has the hexagonal sides and everything, the sides coming down, and it has a point coming down. Now, when you're healing, you raise a crystal. I have one hand stretched out, receiving light. If, for emphasis, if I really want to really bring down a lot of energy, I put one hand with my pyramid, receiving light, and another giving light. So if I know that you have a problem in a certain area of your body, I receive light of the pyramid consciously. I'm just a tool. I'm just an instrument. I'm a nobody in the process. I'm just receiving light and sending light. You receive the light of the crystal here, which is sending light down, and then you can pass it. Even as I'm holding this now, I'm feeling lights streaming through me. So you have the crystal, the energies coming down, and then sending out light through the points of this crystal. So crystal points are very important. When you're doing crystal healing, you can direct energy to certain points that you want to target. You can decide to rotate the crystal in such a way as to remove the energies. When you're healing, the anti-clockwise movement is actually a cleansing movement. A clockwise movement is a charging movement. You can actually break energies by puncturing or by scratching and so on. But those are energy healing techniques. And this can be achieved through the natural structure of the crystal. You have geodes. A geode has holes within. The power of geodes is tremendous. It's tremendous. If you have a geode that can take water and you have the water inside the thing, it is spectacular. I can tell you one thing for sure. If a woman is pregnant, and wants to have a seamless delivery, let her use amethyst. Amethyst is something that we mining all the time here. I see amethyst almost being thrown away. People don't understand it. It's okay, amethyst. People want to just sell the amethyst, and they're not even using amethyst. If you have insomnia, you can't sleep, and you've gone through this process I've told you about, and you put amethyst under your pillow. It's a wonderful resource for insomnia. You sleep so well. You can also place amethyst in a cup of water and keep it under the sun to charge, or keep it under the moon to charge. Just charging it, all the resources that nature has to put it there. It's exceedingly potent. A woman that uses amethyst for maybe 3 months to her delivery will have a baby like she never understood that the baby had come out. These are things that the ancients knew. These are things that has also been applied now, and that has to come back because surgery and all those things is coming to an end. The energy, the medicine of prevention, the medicine of energy, the medicine of herbs is reestablishing itself here, and we're going back into nature. This is a heart shape. There are also crystals, incidentally, that even in nature come out of a heart shape. Can you believe that? Even though this one has been designed this way, and it's a black crystal, it's a black obsidian. The black crystals are the crystals that absorb negative energy. A lot of people go into spaces where they're exposed to all forms of negative energy, maybe a family meeting or to some place where you don't like the vibes of the place, and you just know they are going to a space you're not comfortable. You tell yourself, how can I grade myself? Because the human body takes on energies. And those energies are either good for you or bad for you. And if they're bad for you, you want to leave that environment, everything's just choking you up. So if you're able to get the black crystals, like black tourmaline, this black tourmaline that people have everywhere, they have no idea just how potent and powerful black tourmaline is. It's not just black tourmaline, you have jet, you have obsidian, you have black opal, you have a lot of crystals that come black. Once they come black like that, that black is absorbing of those negative energies, and it keeps you in a state where as those energies are coming, they're being dissolved. As they're coming, they're being dissolved. There are even instances where people are exposed to so much negative energy that the crystals shatter, they explode completely. Now, in an instance like that, you can only imagine what would have happened if that energy had accessed the person. The crystals can take a hit on behalf of the person. I know that there are times where people could have died easily if they didn't have crystals. They wake up in the morning and they find their crystals shattered. They find all sorts of forms in their house dead, and They just are lucky to have had a little bit of knowledge of crystals, which they put as a grid, and they're fantastic. Another thing you can do with crystals is to grid your space. I tell myself, oh, this place I'm going to now, this is my house, and the new place like that. I want to cleanse the place. So you first of all sage the place, remove the negative energy, pray in the space, and ask, okay, I want to retain a certain level of energy here. So I put black crystals in the corners of my habitation of the house, and you grid the space. You create a bubble around the house in such a way that negative energies cannot access that space. And then after you do that, you can drop in crystals of exceedingly high vibration like this, a selenite crystal. This for instance can grid my estates. The energy of this crystal can grid my estates. Selenite is so powerful. People that have all this witchcraft and psychic attacks and bad dreams, when they have the energy of selenite in their houses, it just helps dispel a lot of that energy. So as I was saying, there's so many formations that crystals come in. There are people who, for instance, are saying, okay, well, they just long for this soulmate, and like, how can they do it? Of course, we know that the crystals that attract love, I'm speaking abstract now, are things like Lurus quartz. It's a crystal that is also very abundant in this part of the world. And people just, rose quartz, and they don't understand that the greatest reason why rose quartz has been given to us is because it has the potential of attracting love and keeping love in place. So if I have access to rose quartz, I'll put a lot of rose quartz in my compound, in my house, and ensure that the vibes of this place, the energies of this place are in constant motion. For a person looking for, I'll give this an aside. There are people saying, okay, well, I'm looking for my twin flame or my soulmate and all of that. Even in nature, there are things called tantric twins, crystal formations that come as twins. They come side by side, and miners will see this a lot. You see crystals that form, and this is like a twin. This is like harmony, balance, male, female, side by side, and you're trying to get an attraction. It's okay, what can I do? And you can program this crystal to get you a partner that would, harmonize your ideals and all of that, and it can be as magical as that. There are a lot more other formations and shapes and things like that. Like I said, we could do 6 months in terms of speaking about crystals. So I'll just take it and imparting. And they also crystals that are double terminated. They have points at both ends. And like I told you, they are receivers and transmitters. Those are also excellent for healing. The crystal called Herkimer diamond is very fantastic in that regards. So this is giving you an insight into how crystals occur in nature. You have spherical shapes, you have cubical shapes, you have round shapes, you have points and everything. So I hope that these things, these are pointers to how you would actually want to view crystals and how their energies can lend themselves to you. Now, I want to move on to something that starts to address how crystals deal with the heart of the matter. We're going into healing now, and we said all these things so that you have an idea of what crystal energy is. We understand that their frequencies. The crystal is like a condensation of light that's emitting a particular frequency, and all the frequencies necessary for the human body are embodied in those crystals. One of the speakers earlier on said that even zodiac signs actually have crystals, and that's very true. You have people who are Libran who have particular crystals. You have the person who is in November have the crystal different from the person who's in, and this is because having been born at different times of the year, they're under the influence of different frequencies and different radiations. It just happens that these frequencies and radiations are just have to, in order for the person to resonate in a way that he can function, he needs the frequency of a certain energy. He needs the frequency of a certain temperature. He needs the frequency of a certain food. And these things come with particular seasons. So a person that's born in December, for instance, runs with a different energy from a person that's born in March. In those parts of the world where you have the healthy seasons, where you have spring, summer, fall and winter, you find out that the energetics of those seasons will be different. So a person that's born into those energies to be his best person, to have the best of him in play, it to be essential for him to understand which zodiac, captures the essence of his physical body even more. And I use the word physical body because the physical body is the implement that runs the dimensions of his spirit. The physical body is not really who he is. The physical body is the outermost tool that gives expression to his spirits. So a person coming in October, I'm Libra, and I'm air sign and all of that. I tell myself, wow, the opal energy is fantastic for me. Maybe a person in November will tell himself that he wants topaz. A Leo would do well with tiger's eye, a Tarian, maybe an amethyst. And when those people are very conscious, they find out that whenever they use these crystals, the best part of themselves is already in play. So I said this to corroborate what the person had said earlier. It's actually very true that the zodiacs play a huge part in ensuring that you can give yourself some level of harmony and some level of loft when you're working with them. So it's a beautiful thing to get to the point where you understand the harmonics of crystals, the point of using them in the zodiac signs. Yeah. Okay. So that is a little bit of a mention of that. I think it's good. I want to also quickly speak about the very vital connections that we need to know when we're using crystals. And this is the heart. This is the heart of the matter. This is the heart of the matter. Because without the knowledge of this thing we're going into now, the knowledge of crystals and crystal healings is absolutely in vain. We had started earlier mentioning that because of the different frequencies, we gifted us these resources that are essential to the healthy human body, and different crystals embody those different frequencies. Everything has a frequency. Everything that is alive has a frequency. Everything healthy and everything unhealthy has a frequency. That's why you can pick up a machine, for instance, a QRMD machine, that's a scanning machine, and the machine runs energy through you. And by running energy through you, it is sending out, it's transmitting certain signals, and those receiving signals are taking the frequency of the organs. And I can tell you, okay, well, this organ is ailing because the frequency of the heart is not at the vibration that is healthy. Or it sends the same frequency to a kidney, and it comes back and says the reading is 1.1 instead of 1.5 because the frequency of the healthy kidney is 1.5. So there's they made up these devices that you're acquainted with, MRI scanners and everything that can just sit you down, hold a mic, and then it sends energy through your system and tells you that you're at the wrong frequency. And that frequency ensures that, okay, well, you know whether you're ill or you're healthy. Technology has helped a lot in advancing that side. And we also know that crystals also embody particular frequencies that are needed by the body, which means that, as was stated earlier, that if I'm deficient in a certain frequency, maybe a frequency that's needed for me to function properly within my brain, and that frequency isn't there, and I'm able to get that energy from the crystal restore that missing energy, and I'll be healed because I have gotten that energy back. So it's sending out energy all the time. I must be open nonetheless. I must be a person that's capable of receiving that energy of that crystal and be able to use it for the purpose of healing myself with that frequency. And so the gift of these crystals comes with the fact that they embody the energies that are used to keep you in total harmony. Now, where does energy access the body from? Because I tell myself, okay, well, if I have a headache now, am I going to put the crystal on my head? Am I going to put my leg on my heart? We have to become the sense of the different energy points, the points of the body that embody the energies that course in and out of our system. Because even before your heart is healthy, your thoughts will have to be healthy. You tell yourself that you're only healthy when your thoughts are healthy, So you You put yourself in a position where you are vibrating at a frequency that life appreciates you for. You tell yourself that you're thinking right, you're feeling right, you're happy, and it all starts from your emotions. It all starts from the way you think. You know, as a matter of fact, every single disease, you have no idea whatsoever. Every single disease starts from a thought form. And when those thought forms have gone on for a very long time, they affect the energetics of your system. And as the energetics of your system are affected, it forms blockages in the movement of light in and out of your body. And it's that movement of light that is stagnated that actually causes the dis-ease, the lack of ease. You have, for instance, let's go to very common cases that we're conversant with. A person has anger issues. It's always angry. He gets angry to the point of blowing up and then going to sleep. He shuts down when he has finished venting because and then down the line, you find out that he has migraines. He's expressed himself in an angry manner all the time and has shut down the energy of a certain center in the system that is now glitching. And so the energy is not flowing freely as it should. And so it forms itself as, so the symptoms of that disease, which comes from the mental and emotional states,
okay.
are now affecting his physical state of being. We also know that cancer is a disease that comes from long-standing hatred, resentment, and bitterness. Long-standing hatred, resentment, and bitterness. And once the energy of cancer hits you, my system is not charging. It's good now. Once you have a long-standing incidence of hatred and lack of forgiveness and the inability to just let go, the human energetics doesn't understand that, because the energies were given to us as the flow, and the flow is love. The flow is dispensing with love. So when you halt those energies and then you transmit those energies that are meant for love and light into negativity, then it forms a very bad blockage, a very nasty blockage. And those blockages, if not addressed, now start to disease the physical body. So the physical body, what you call the disease, is actually a symptom of what has gone wrong a long time ago at the emotional and the spiritual levels. And the body takes on form. And that is where crystals are exceedingly important, because I told you that the crystals carry the natural frequencies of the healthy human body and have not been affected by mankind yet. If mankind has to go back to, okay, well, let's restore the lights into the right order, and you do what they call, for instance, a chakra balancing session, in which you're able to just stream the lights as they should through all your energy centers, then the person will come out as he should. He will start to dream, because even not being able to dream is a very major disease. What we call diseases now, people don't even understand the half of what constitutes a disease. A person that's unhappy, very unhappy, that doesn't wake up smiling, is very diseased. A person that is constantly worrying is very diseased. A person that's unforgiving is very diseased. A person that has fear, that has no courage whatsoever, that cannot go after his dreams, is very diseased. Now, these things form a lot of impediments in the flow of energy in the system, because a human being is not meant to operate that way. And it has been linked with different organs of the body. For instance, it has been seen that the people that worry a lot tend to have problems that shut down their kidneys. So if you're under issues of worry and you're not being proactive, well, let's get a solution to it and everything, you would find yourself being disabled by the energies that are shutting down certain systems. I've spoken about cancer. How about accidents? When you tell yourself you have accidents, that accidents is also an energy dysfunction. That fibroids is an energy dysfunction. I have a full list of a very privileged list of all the diseases that come from all the thoughts, and you will be shocked. I hope I can share this on the page one way or the other. Is it possible to share this aspect? Let me see if I can get this thing for you. Let's see. Let me see if I can get this page. Hidden properties of stones. Just give me a minute. Rules and game international. Wow, wow. Yes, yes. Okay, so if everybody's with me on this page, you can see this. I'm sharing something that's very, very, very important for all of us to see. You know, it's one of the things that we can learn a profound lot from. And it's, you know, I've actually detailed it in a written format here for people to see and to read. And it says relationship of emotions to disease. Many of us are now coming to understand that physical symptoms and illness often begin first in the emotional and mental bodies. We are not just a physical body. We each have an aura of subtle bodies, including the etheric, mental, emotional, astral, and causal bodies. Energy healers, clairvoyants, and shamans are able to feel or see these bodies. Our Western system of allopathic medicine can offer emergency life-saving surgeries, as well as subdue and control emotions, yet the root cause is often not addressed. You know, and the only way you can actually stop a disease is to stop it from the roots. If not, it comes back. It recurs. Why is it that a person has cancer, you cut off the left breast, and then you've done chemotherapy and everything, and the thing moves to the right breast? Why is it that you cut off the left leg and the thing moves to the right leg? You know, what is feeding that energy? You know, if they are not expressed in motion, they can become stuck in the body, causing a block in energy flow. Trauma or inherited cellular memory can also result, you know. So I've taken my time to list a few diseases that you're conversant with, and then you ask yourself that, okay, so really, and these are things that you can see in your daily experiences. Like for people who, for instance, are vulnerable to accidents. You know, there are people who have an inability to speak up for themselves, or they have rebellion against authority. They believe in violence. You know, you just have to take time and sit down and see it, even in your own pattern. Or people who are aching. What causes aches? A lot of people who are aching have a longing for love or a longing to be held. An addiction, running from the self, fear, not knowing how to love self. You know, look at the people that they don't really have confidence. You know, and so he goes into a substance and he goes, okay, let me use this substance to make up for this emotion that I'm deficient in. And then another person has anxiety. And you ask yourself, what is anxiety? And then you see that, okay, anxiety is not trusting the flow and the process of life. And you ask yourself, what is anxiety? Why is the person anxious? He doesn't understand what is happening to him, and he's scared of what will happen the next moment. And so he says he's anxious. But the truth is, if he was just going to trust that the universe will give him back what he needs, and he has an anchorage in the spiritual system of sorts, then there won't be anxiety. And there's so many things that when you see like this, you just tell yourself, is this really it? Arthritic fingers caused by a desire to punish, blame, feeling victimized. You know, you look at back issues, which are very, very preponderant. You know, asking yourself, carrying the burdens of life, feeling helpless and hopeless. You look at lower back pain, fear of money, or lack of financial support. There are so many people who wake up and they're scared. Tomorrow, now, how do we know whether we're going to make money tomorrow? How much do we have to save? Is there enough money? You know, and these are things that are constituting, because you tell yourself, are you really meant to wake up and be worried about money? If you're worried about it, it's already a problem. You can only be optimistic about life and tell yourself, okay, I don't have it today. And you go forward trustingly, like the bird that flies in the sky and does not drop down from the sky out of hunger. It will always find a worm. But sometimes we create wrong expectations, unrealistic expectations, and then those things become pressure points and they start to disease us. Look at blood pressure, long-standing emotional problems, you know, not solved. Who doesn't know that people that have emotional problems have blood pressure? You know, even body odor is caused by fear and dislike of the self. You know, so many things, you know. So I looked at the whole thing, and in treating people, I said, I want to share this list with us in this place to really understand that everything has a root. Cataracts. People have cataracts. People have glaucoma. They know what are cataracts. They say, okay, my eyes are, where did this start from? Inability to see ahead with joy, a dark future. A person that's not optimistic will not know that he's actually putting pressure on his eyes to the point where the eyes will eventually disease. And I've had to look at these things over time and tell myself, I have seen these patterns play out with a lot of people. I've seen, for instance, in fibroids, I've seen a lot of people that have fibroids especially. And when they come in and they're with these issues like this, I question them and we talk and everything. And they say that nursing hurts. And maybe they feel that something has happened. And it is there so simply stated that when you're nursing a hurt from a partner, and you can't forgive that this growth starts. You've blocked the energy flow somewhere, and it goes on and on and on. Glaucoma caused by unforgiveness, pressure, and long-standing hurts. So if you look at this, you can look at this list very well. You find that all these things are born of wrong emotions. The people are not living their best selves because they're kept away in a bubble that has made them subhuman. And so one pressure after the other, and it keeps on having a corresponding effect on the body energies. Now that's where the magic of crystal comes in. Crystals are not going to replace a person that has appendicitis that needs a hasty operation, or a person who needs to have his head stitched. Don't get me wrong. That medicine has its own role to play in that. But if you understand that if we have been in accordance with the natural frequencies that life had given us, and then we have no reason whatsoever to disease. And is this lack of harmony, is this dissonance from the right frequencies that causes the disease? You then would understand the miracle of crystals, which comes to restore the body back to its natural frequency. And if the person has followed the rules of engagement that was stated earlier, which is to be simple, to be generous, to be giving, to be loving, not to hold on to negative energies, you find that you just all these things just drop. Where would the greed come from? People kill to something. There's enough for everybody. The universe is abundance, but everybody wants one thing or the other. So these crystals come back and give you the energies that you need. They restore you. I ask myself, for instance, now, what medication takes care of a person with a broken heart? I've had a very nasty experience. Maybe the girlfriend has taken off and said she's not marrying me any longer, and I'm in serious pain. You give the guy an antidepressant, and every time the antidepressant wears off, like he's back in that state. You need to address the energy. You need to be able to address what is really wrong. And the crystals, like rhodochrosite and rose quartz, if the person is open, will heal, will restore the frequencies of his heart, and will start to heal the person in ways that are very, very miraculous, including and especially depression, which is the malady of this age. Because the person with depression is totally out of sync with himself. He's not anchored anywhere spiritually, and it's a big problem. In fact, in Europe and America, that is the major problem they have now. You wake up in the morning and one guy has hit the streets and is killing people everywhere because he's depressed. What is depression? He's not being fed by anything spiritual. His brain has gone haywire. And so you tell yourself, the person is depressed. What do? You want to put him on Lagatine and all those things that just numb the brain. They don't help. You have to restore his frequency to a point where his spirit can start to receive illumination. It's that illumination and the application of that illumination that starts to cure him from the root cause. He starts to tell himself that his inordinate ambitions and his wrong ambitions and his wrong priorities and so are actually diseasing him. And until he gets back to that manual, that code of life that frees him as a human being as he should be, he will not escape these things. That is where the miracles of crystal comes in. Because we've been able at the Crystal Healing Home to heal people and to truly heal them. And we heal them, not ourselves, but we teach them how to heal themselves by letting go of the wrong emotions that are feeding these energies. And then when they have not decided to let go of those energies that are feeding these wrong things, we now support it with crystals. And those crystals now put them in play, restore all the energy they need, and start to feed them with a lot of things that will help them. And before I move into another dimension of healing, which has to do with knowing the energy centers and how they operate and how you can put crystals there and everything, I want to speak about some of the crystals that we kill ourselves for, that people people know about, and they tell themselves, we have diamonds. Is sharing the screen? You know, and we tell ourselves that, okay, I have a diamond. The diamond is worth $2 billion, or $2 zillion and everything. But what do you know that a diamond does? And I've decided to choose the very expensive crystals that people would say, we have a fortune. We have diamonds. Now let us read about diamond. The diamond is a symbol of purity. The diamond's pure white light helps to bring our lives into cohesive whole. It brings love and clarity into partnerships, bonding relationships. Diamond is a sign of commitment and fidelity and instills trust to relationships and situations. It inspires the forces of accumulation, attracting the manifestation of abundance. Diamond is an energy amplifier. It is a stone that never requires recharging. It will bring strength and endurance to all energies and will enhance the power of all other crystals. However, beware, as this means it will increase negative energy as well as positive energy. Now, so this tells you that not everybody should dare to own or to use a diamond. Because if you're not mature for a diamond, it would amplify your negative traits. And many a time, it's those negative traits amplified that kills the wearer. There's so many incidences linked with people who have died because they own diamonds, and yet the diamond is one of the crystals that has the highest vibrations. On a medical note, it purifies and detoxifies all of the body's systems, rebalancing the metabolism and building up stamina, strength, and treating allergies and chronic conditions. It also helps glaucoma and clear sight. Diamond effectively treats dizziness and vertigo and benefits the brain. Now, you need to know these connections. You need to know these connections because these are the energies that diamond transmits and gives to the wearer, which, when in tune and in tandem with the use, will benefit from it greatly. And then, in following the basic principles, he'll get there. But imagine if you're using a diamond, you're a greedy kind of person. It just amplify your greed. Or you tell yourself, okay, I'm going to kill this person because I need to own this diamond by force. It's a problem. So it's the highest form of energy of a diamond is not in its acquisition and its monetary value, but because of the high level of vibration that brings about all these things. Let's talk about emeralds. People talk about diamonds, they talk about emeralds. What is the emerald? Emerald is known as the stone of successful love. It brings loyalty and provides for domestic bliss. It enhances unconditional love and can signal unfaithfulness if it changes color. Now, this is very important that you know this. Like crystals do change color. If the crystal likes you, it can get lighter and brighter. And if your energies are negative, the crystal will darken under your own use. So it's possible for you to get a very bright amethyst crystal, or a very bright ruby, or a very bright see-through emerald, and all of a sudden your crystal starts to darken. And you ask yourself, this is my crystal. The only time, even marriage rings, I had this crystal the other day, and from blue, it has almost become black. These are realities of crystals. It will always spectrate the energies that are going through you. If the energies are dense, it gets denser. If they're light, it gets lighter. Sometimes you also need to cleanse your crystals, though. Sometimes people use crystals for lengths of time. They don't understand that they need to cleanse the crystals. Those of you that are married, that have marriage rings, please take notes. Every now and again, take time to cleanse your crystal rings, your jewelry, all of that, at least once a month. It's very helpful. And it says, emerald incites psychic abilities, opens clairvoyance, and stimulates the use of greater mental capacity. It treats disorders of the heart, the lungs, the spine, and the muscular system. It aids in the recovery after infectious illness, helps sinuses and soothes the eyes, improving vision. So if you own an emerald and you have not thought about using emeralds at this level to ensure that, because it's a supreme stone of faithfulness, and the way it shines or dulls is it signifies whether or not you've been faithful to your relationships or even to your friendships. Now you don't even understand what an emerald is. Is it the okay, we have emerald, we're going to sell it for $2 billion. And you have it in your house there, and it's doing nothing. It's probably just even there, dark, dense, and you're having emotional issues, and you can do nothing with those energies, that's pretty sad. And they ask yourself, the ruby, let's go to the ruby. Ruby is red, and red is blood. Blood is vitality. Blood is life. So once you see red stones, the red stones are usually stones that encourage vitality and movement because it's linked, very directly linked to the blood. It improves motivation and setting of realistic goals, balances the heart and instills confidence. Ruby encourages joy, spontaneity, laughter, and courage. It encourages positive dreams and stimulates the pineal gland, aids in retaining wealth and passion. So it's a stone of attraction. Ruby encourages removal of negative energies from your path. It overcomes exhaustion and lethargy and imparts potency and vigor. So if a person finds himself being unable to even be, to push himself, he's fallen back too many times and is tired of the fact that life has thrown him some very hard blows. When he has the ruby on him, he just gets going. He will pick up, and if he's overactive, it will also calm him down. And on the blood level, it detoxifies the blood and the lymphatic system. It treats fevers, infections, disease, and all of that. Now all these things that it does, and it does it big time. That's even why these stones, these particular crystals are this expensive, because of the things that they do. Not because it is red or it shines or it has one light. I mean, why ask yourself, really, why is the diamond that expensive or the emerald or the ruby that expensive? Is it because it shines green and red or because the other person doesn't have it? No, it gains its value from its spiritual properties. Let's even talk about metals, which people say, okay, because some people love metals. Some people say, I'm a gold person. I'm a silver person. What do you know about gold and silver? It's very important, because sometimes when you're wearing some of these things, these crystals, you might say, okay, I want to wear my gold chain or my silver chain or my copper chain. What do you know that silver does? Silver is very good for the intuition. It increases perception, it regulates emotional and intuitive energies. It can be used to mirror. I use a mirror to the soul, one to stimulate seeing oneself from outside the body. It's something that a person who is very, very light can even start to have projections. When used with gemstones, it is able to attract and retain those qualities which are emitted by the stone. So it can enhance the properties of other crystals. Silver is known to enhance the powers of the moon and is excellent for use in energizing other stones during the full and new moon. I spoke about how the full moon energizes crystals. So if you have silver around, it's a spur. It acts really fast in doing that. But more importantly, silver helps to cleanse the body via the pores and to eliminate toxins at the cellular. Cellular means the microscopic level, its finest levels. So if a person has been toxified one or the other, you have to get rid of toxins. There's no better for this than silver. It can be used to treat hepatitis, the assimilations of vitamin A and C. There's so many things we need to know. How about copper? Everyone knows that copper is a great conductor. Why is it a great conductor? And because it's a great conductor, there's a lot of movement, and it means it can also actually allow for great movement of the blood. It's said to be an amplifier of good thoughts, a bestower of good, bringing benefit to the user. It can be used to conduct electrical impulses and magnify the energy transfer. So a healer would benefit from using copper a lot because it moves and transmits energy very quickly. It can combat lethargy, passivity, and so much more. Copper can be used to balance and stabilize the flow of blood within the body to help to increase circulatory functions when necessary. So if you're having a heart disorder, or you're not breathing well, or you feel like your circulation is a problem, or you're not exercising enough, then use copper. It will stimulate your blood flow immediately. So that is it. And you ask yourself, supreme gold. Everybody says, I have gold, though. I'm wearing gold. Is this gold? Sure, everybody loves gold. It's expensive. Is that a golden watch, And everybody's just talking, gold. I have a golden something. Is it because it's gold that you are showing off with it, or because you know what gold really symbolizes? And gold symbolizes the purity of the spiritual aspect of all that is. It is symbolic of spirituality and development in the realm of complete understanding, allowing one to both attain and maintain communion with the source of all being. To attain and maintain, that's the highest vibration. Gold has been called the master healer. Now, do you know why gold is expensive? It's excellent for purification of the physical body. Helps improve the character, one's learning process, and so much more. And so it can clear negativity from the chakras and all of that. It assists in the regeneration. So we need to empower ourselves with the knowledge of what these things do. Like, yes, even gold. And tantalite, I'll mention tantalite as the last one because tantalite, people are excited about tantalite because it's very expensive and it's said to be more expensive than even diamonds. And you ask yourself that a crystal that's more expensive than diamonds, what is it to? People say 1 gram is worth $50-something million. Yeah, but why? Tantalite is a stone that helps in providing protection from different types of negativity. So it's the ultimate protection against negativity. It blocks hostility, spells, or attacks. So imagine the person that has been cursed, or a spell has been cast upon him, and then he doesn't know what to do. His life is a total mess. And then he's privileged to get tantalite, though it is very expensive. And it's able to block spells or attacks, and people are attacking their thought forms, and this is a very strong thing that you have to learn about. Thought forms. A person that is thinking evil of you is attacking you, but he's sending you negative energy. And that's why it's always good to protect yourself from all these accesses of energy that aren't helpful to the individual. People can decide to sit down in a group, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people, and tell themselves they want to focus on a particular man, and they want to destroy his business by sending negative energy. And they'll sit down there as a group. In Africa, this is well known. This is what you call witchcraft. And you hear that, all of a sudden, this man's business has collapsed. And the guy will tell you that, I'm under spiritual attack. And he doesn't know what's going on, that things just went from bad to worse. It could be that he married the wrong person, or he employed the wrong person, or he did the wrong thing, or went to the wrong partnership. And then all of a sudden, he finds himself being subjected to all sorts of energies which are detrimental. Remember, everything vibrates with an energy. And people also carry energies with them. So ask yourself, if this person has come in with such a negative energy, and all of a sudden you find yourself in complete trouble, your business is a mess, your family is a mess, you can't think, you can't focus, and you say, how do I get out of this? Then tantalite may just be what you need. They possess a good action to enhancing the everyday exercise of the creative gifts. So it's a beautiful thing to own. I hope that one day that I'll just be gifted tantalite, so I know that, okay, well, when we're fighting our spiritual wars and battles like this, that we are just totally protected and gridded. So these are, I have to mention these things particularly, so that you have an idea of what these seemingly expensive crystals, really represent on the real level, on the real life level, not on the material value level. Of course we can do business, and it makes sense to actually work in them in such a way as to say, okay, well, I want to do a business out of this and make money. But if you're not using crystals for the energy that it sends out, then those crystals will use you and send the energies to you and to affect you, whether you know it or not, or like it or not, because they are transmitters and receivers of energy. Now, those were exemptions that I actually brought into being to give us a great understanding. They are more commonly available crystals in everyday usage. You have rose quartz, you have amethyst, you have agates, you have carnelian, you have agates. You have jades. There are hundreds of crystals, and Nigeria is very abundant in those crystals. You ask yourself that, why is the Nigeria so abundant in quartz? Quartz is a master healer too. It does a lot of receiving of energy. It means that Nigeria is a nation that's meant to receive a lot of light and to transmit a lot of light. Nigeria is a called nation for those who know. And so they're given a lot of this crystals in abundance so that people here can actually have their energies fashioned in such a way that they can receive and use it. But because we are not standing the way we should, these misapplications of these energies now are causing a lot of confusion of lands. A lot of those mining sites, all those things you call banditry and the rest of it, are actually people mining their crystals and killing the people in those areas and pretending that they are bandits, or that's a religious thing. No, the West has been here for hundreds of years, for eons, mining our crystals and taking them away. And the money involved is so humongous. It's so huge. I mean, we have uranium in Nigeria. I mean, the Gemstone Association of Nigeria will probably tell you what we have here, the kind of treasure base that we have in Nigeria. We have gold. We have tantalite. Yes, we do. Even meteor stones that are meant to be crazily expensive overseas, they're there. So what have we and what can we do with these things? If we do not decide to apply these energies benevolently, then these things are going to destroy us. A lot of those states in the north now, where they're actually mining these things now, I'm telling you, have become terrorist centers. They're actually even still under the influence of the energies of those crystals, which will not let the users and the wearers and the miners have peace. Someone gets a crystal and says, oh, well, this is going to make me a fortune, and he steals it. The crystals don't lend themselves to the energy of stealing. And they ask them, so why would a person steal a free resource of life given to you for your own benefit, and you want to acquire it for yourself, and it will eventually destroy you? So until we understand these fundamental processes, we're not understanding crystals. Now, because we're healers, I want to demonstrate a few things practically so that we can understand how different stones, crystals, can help to unblock certain channels in our bodies that will lend for a greater expression, for greater health, psychic, physical, mental, and emotional. It's only when all those states of being holistically are together that you can actually speak of health. I can't say, oh, Ayo Dada is a billionaire, and he wakes up unhappy and you say he's healthy. He's not healthy. Or you say he's a billionaire and he's selfish and nobody on the streets is touched by what he has. He's not a human being. That's not wealth. Life keeps on giving us and doesn't ask us, it doesn't want to know whether we deserve it or not. It just keeps on giving us, So we need to understand the fundamentals of humanity, and using those fundamentals that makes human. So I'm going to speak about the energy system, the chakra system, and we have to understand the various points of the body that energy comes in and out from, and how the various crystals can assist us in getting certain aspects of ourselves in play, in good play. So I'm going to share a chakra diagram now. And those of you who already have an insight into energy, have an understanding of what the chakras signify. But to make it easier, for those of you who are scared of esoteric terms, let's not use chakras. Let's just say energy centers. There's 7 principal energy centers in the body. And just for the ease of flow, they're called chakras. You have the crown chakra, you have the third eye chakra, the throat chakra, you have the heart chakra, the solar plexus chakra, the sacral chakra, you have the root chakra, representing, as it were, spirituality, awareness, communication, love and healing, wisdom and power, sexuality and creativity, and basic trust. And you tell yourselves, these 7 lights are the 7 lights that comprise the rainbow. For those of you that have a science background, you know that Roig, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, when spun on a color wheel, will give you white. So we have the 7 colors of this, and the constituting the colors of the chakra, which when spun together, which means that all of these colors actually derive from the white light of the universe that created us. And so when we come into being and we're actually what and who we're meant to be, we're actually going to spread white light. And that's why you can see a person that has a bright aura, a person who they will call a mystic, or a person who's very spiritual, or a person he has a glow around him, because the 7 lights working in unison are combining to come back into that same basic light that formed them to give it white. And that's the white light itself, like breaks down into the crown chakra, third eye, throat, and all, as you've seen in the diagram. Now, the violet color represents spirituality. So a person who is very conscious would want to ensure that his crown chakra light is flowing. Because light enters his being through his crown chakra. The next color is the third eye chakra. You ask yourself that, what's the function of the third eye chakra? The third eye chakra is where your intuition, your dreams. A person wants to become more aware. Let's even try and see a little bit of a write-up here, but I'd rather just even say it the way I understand it first before we can, go down. So the color is purple. So and it funnels down. There's a funnel funneling down into the crown chakra. So that violet light, which is the highest on the color spectrum, depicts a person who has attained to a very high level of spirituality. And that's why you find the royals, they always gird themselves with purple clothing. They like purple a lot, purple curtains, purple this. Even people who lend themselves to purple in their clothing are people who have a high degree of spirituality and who are regal in nature. So the purple color, if even applied in your house, is a beautiful thing. Now, just ask you, apply it to crystals. Which crystal has the purple appearance? So such a crystal will be good in ensuring that there's a flow of energy from your crown chakra. The next color is the third eye chakra, which is an indigo color. So you ask yourself, which colors? Maybe a lapis lazuli. A lapis lazuli is fantastic for the third eye if you're having blockages in terms of your dreams and insights and visions, which are so essential for that man who wants to remain happy and connected. Because I don't want to wake up thinking of what I have to do all the time. I want to be given these things. Life actually gives it to you. You're just meant to simply be and follow the trajectory of life, and every single thing would open up in all naturals to you. Waking up to, as they put it these days, hustle, and going out there to forage for food like a wild animal. It's not reserved. It's not the reserve of the human being. So with an active third eye chakra, you can anticipate things. You can be told what to do. You can be told what not to do. You can stay away from danger. It's going to be a lot of help once your third chakra is working properly. Your throat chakra symbolizes your communication. Are you speaking truth or are you lying? You know how many diseases lying causes to the system. You know how many diseases repression causes to the system. Repression is a major disease. A person is angry with his wife or his brother or his neighbor. That guy has done something, and you refuse to say it. You're keeping in negative energy. Then all of a sudden, your throat starts to have a problem with the other, or your lungs start to disease. And you tell the doctor, look, doctor, motini mom, so motini one thing or the other. Where do you think it started? Do you think that the lungs just mumped themselves up, or you think it was the food you ate? Even wrong feeding is still born of an energy that's not being fed properly. Because if you're actually in sync with the energies, the body knows how to feed itself. So everything starts from energy. So ask yourself, the throat chakra, are you able to communicate fluidly without repression and simply? And if you cannot do that, what are the blue crystals that you apply around your neck that will aid? I'm wearing, by the way, today and now for this occasion, a blue apatite crystal around my neck, which just ensures that I do not restrict myself when I have to say things. I just have truth to speak, and I'll speak it the way I know best. Whether or not the person is able to come in from my perspective or not, I'll speak it as it comes to me. So I have a crystal that aids me in that direction. Then you move on to the heart chakra. You do have the higher heart. We won't talk about that in this session. That'll come another time. But the heart chakra, as you can well see, is the central chakra. It's 1, 2, 3. It's the fourth chakra. You have 3 above, 4 below. So it means that if the heart chakra is out of sync, there's likely to be a lopsidedness in the person's way of being. He'll be totally imbalanced. That's why emotional issues knock a person off completely, because that central chakra is the balancing chakra. If a person is emotionally disturbed, he can't function. That is the pivotal point. And it's also the powerhouse of the body by virtue of the heart itself. If the heart is gone, the human being is gone. So the heart needs to be in good flow, the green, verdant energy of life, the healing energy of life, the energy of life that bears the principles of love and unconditional forgiveness is the heart chakra. Once the heart chakra starts to change color because the person is unduly unforgiving, that is cancer. And that's why when cancer starts with women, I'll tell you this medically, it starts from the left breast, which is where the heart is located before it starts to spread. Because that's where the energy, first of all, picks it up very intensely. So if a person is going to have to heal on many fronts and even to perform all round, he needs to have a free-flowing heart chakra and was very accepting of what the universe brings his way. He mustn't be complaining or be angry or feel that his own lot is worse than another person's lot. Everybody's path is different. Follow your path. So ask yourself, what are the crystals that are good for the heart? The green crystals, malachites, jades, dalptes, there's so many of them. In fact, life has done in such a way that green is abundant in terms of crystals. So nobody has any reason to ever be heavy in heart for any reason whatsoever. And then you move down to the solar plexus, which is the yellow power, which represents wisdom and power. And incidentally, the yellow energy, which is like the sun of the body, because that is where the solar plexus, that's where the spirit is connected to the body. It's a very important chakra. And that's why I say wisdom and power. And that solar plexus light, the yellow light, governs the liver. The liver is governed by the light of the solar plexus. So if a person is having problems with his liver, then he should check out the feeding of the color of the solar plexus. And once the liver is not functioning properly, it means that the body cannot fight cancer. Wherever the solar plexus is working function, which means that the person is in sync with the spirit, he has a strong liver. And once the liver is functioning properly, there is no possibility whatsoever for a cancer center to develop in the body. So most times, people should know how to take care of their livers. That's why people say, when there's a popular saying in slang or something, liver failed the guy, that if your liver goes wrong, you're gone. And it's true. That singular organ is so important to the body that when the liver goes wrong, everything goes wrong because the sun, the spirit, which should activate the body, doesn't exist. Now you can imagine how it is with those people that don't even have a system that governs their beliefs. Most times they end up drinking everything. The first thing that dies in the body is the liver. It's chewed up. It's just automatic. It happens that way. And then, so you ask yourself, what are the colors that can deal? What are the crystals that can keep you in play with your solar plexus chakra? You have citrine, you have tiger's eye. Tiger's eye is also fantastic for courage. That's why I say tiger, a lot of care. So you ask yourself, if you're using citrine properly, and there are many applications, you can actually lie down and place these crystals at those points after you have cleansed and charged and programmed and dedicated, as we spoke about earlier. You can place this one, and then you get to a point in time where you start to feel the energies, the warmth, the collection of your system. Once those energies are collecting your system, it is regulating the frequency of your organs, and your organs are going back to what they should be, and the healing is automatic. Everything starts from the subtle bodies. And even before that happens, you must have conditioned yourselves to be a good thinker, no anger, forgiveness, all those things we spoke about, those negatives that we do not take as serious are actually the very things that govern our existence. Then you move down to the sacral chakra, which governs our sexuality and our creativity. It's the orange light. You have carnelian. A lot of you have carnelian around the office. You have to say, what's this carnelian stone used for? And it's used for jewelry, but it's a very, very, very potent sign. You also have orange calcite. There are many orange stones. Now, this I'm gonna take a little bit of time to explain to you something about this sexual chakra because it's very important. Because there's a rabid, morbid craving for sex that has taken over the youth today that has gone gaga, and which kills them before they are born. Now, this creative power, which should be used and should naturally morph into the energy of the spirit in the solar plexus in progression, usually gets stymied by too much sexual activity. Once the energy of the sacral chakra is not channeled in such a way as to be used positively, it to be channeled into orgies and the likes. And that's why you see musical videos of these children all the time, just doing all sorts of obscenity, because they don't even seem to know what to do. The home is so important in bringing up the child. The society, the schools are so important in raising the child, so that it actually orients that creative energy in a direction that allows it to want to express itself in so many ways creatively. I mean, I don't think I grew up in a generation that had this much of a problem because we were taught how to go out and appreciate movies, appreciate drama, appreciate reading, appreciate even going out to create things. We're part of so many groups, music, we're taught how to have instruments. So the human being always had a channel to express his talents, his gifts, and his nature into. And once he did that, he was applying that orange color in nature with its own purpose. And as such, it elevated the individual. Now, when the individual is lazily sitting at home and doing nothing, then that orange energy sits flat and he doesn't know what to do. He says, man, let's go sexual. And so he depletes his sexual energy. And when he depletes his sexual energy, I can tell you there are 1,001 diseases that come with that, and it's a big problem. So until we learn to get that energy flowing by engaging the youth in very positive directions and reorienting them and creating things that will really affect them possibly, we may be having a generation problem here. Orange crystals, like carnelian, like I said, like orange calcite, deal with this issue and can help to do that. Then we go to the base chakra, which is the root chakra, which is at the base of the spine. And that's just the center of grounding or centering oneself. You ask yourself, okay, well, I find myself being able to do 10 different things, and that person is poor. I ask myself, how would the person that is so gifted with 10 different things be suffering from poverty or having ideas be something? He's the one that has the richest ideas, but that's because he's not grounded. All he has is a situation where energies are coursing through his brain and flowing through his mind and all of that, and he's unable to just hold one particular thing down because he's always in the realm of dreams. He's floating. So you ask yourself, okay, why don't you just take one out of the 10? Bring that one to fruition, let it germinate, let it fructify, let it come to a point where it becomes of practical use in your life, and then you can apply it. No, but he says, I want to do this. He runs around the whole place and gets exhausted all the time. So the centering of the individual, the root chakra, is a very vital chakra it's also the battery of the system. If you want a person to actually have vitality and to be able to actually work, it's the root chakra. In energy healing, before you start working on the entire system, you must ensure that the red lights are properly fed. Because without the red lights, it's not centered, it's not grounded, the battery's not working, you can't flow energy across all the chakras. So the red crystals, ruby is fantastic, garnet is fantastic. Red jasper is fantastic. So you must understand that all these crystals have it's a very fantastic affinity of the body. When put together, they put the best of you in play. Now, if I must go down and maybe I should read a little bit of what is said here. It says, crown chakra is located at the tip of your head. Your energetic connection to the divine God, spirit, universe, and all of that. It says, I understand and I'm connected. That's the mantra of the crown chakra. The third eye is where intuition, vision, and insight sits. The third eye blockage can feel like confusion and lack of clarity, while balance brings greater consciousness and wisdom. The mantra is the third eye, I see. The throat chakra, centered over your physical throat, lies the throat chakra. This energy point embodies what and how we communicate. Are you able to communicate your truth and wisdom in an authentic and kind way? Now listen carefully. You could have truth to speak, but you don't have to be violent or mean with the truth you have to speak. Are you able to communicate your truth and wisdom in an authentic and kind way? Now, if you're communicating truth badly, you're not going to the energy of truth. So if you have the throat chakra functioning properly, then you will understand this principle. And the mantra is, I speak. The heart chakra says, rest over your feet. The heart chakra regulates your energy flow. I told you it's the central part of the body. It's so important. If you miss that, it's a problem. It holds on to heartache and love and has a great ability to heal yourself and others. It holds on to a heartache if you're not conscious. And it holds on to love. The love is a force that can achieve everything. And its mantra is, I love. Of course, it mentions a few stones that can help you: pink tourmaline, rose quartz, ruby, rhodochrosite, and all of that. Then we move to your solar plexus. It's connected to confidence and empowerment. A blockage here can manifest as feeling powerless or superior. I do. The sacral is sitting between your reproductive organs. The sacral chakra represents creativity, life, passion, and desire. And the energy is, I feel. You have the orange crystals here, that's orange carnelian, orange calcite, peach, moonstone, sunstone, goldstone. And the root chakra, the center of stability and grounding. The root chakra sits at the base of your tailbone, is the balance point between and above, and block can make all, so that's the part I spoke about, but it's the root chakra grounds. Now, just for the jara, so we can add a little bit of, on top of this thing. There's a very important chakra called the earth chakra. And this earth chakra is located between your ankles. And I need to speak about this because, it was knowledge that was given to me, and it helps me a lot, because sometimes when you're doing chakra balancing sessions, where you're involved in healing people, and you have to remove negative energy from their auras and all of that, the healer sometimes picks on this energy and he's left with the task of removing the energy from his system. And most times he has to employ things like using salt water to bath, or maybe placing his hands on the floor, or hitting his hands on the wall, or hold on to dirt. He has to dispense that energy, because some people come with very, very nasty energies. And if as a healer, you can't get it, and even with all your protection, using crystal stones and using all sorts of things like that, there's also a possibility that those energies can still get stuck within your system. So you ask yourself, what can I do to remove this energy within me, which is causing me a little bit of blockage in the problem? So you tell yourself, let me employ the wisdom that has been granted us through eliminating negative energies in the earth chakra. For instance, if you have a big stone, you know, big black tourmaline, you know, or a big smoky quartz. Those are crystals that actually help in sponging out negative energy from the system. You could actually put your crystal in between your feet, sitting down or lying down or whatever, and the energy constantly drains out of you. It's a magic, powerful, and very important resource in removing negative energy from the system. Put in your black tourmaline, black jets, you know, whatever it is that you feel that is good at moving negative energy, you put it between your teeth and just sit down. You can do it casually. You know, so I'm sitting here now, I have my black tourmaline. You'll feel the drainage, like a person that's draining pus from his body. You'll feel the system draining of all negativity on the person is very clear. These are resources that one can use in getting rid of negative energies. And like I said, it's important to also have energy baths, energy showers, where the person will sit down, crystals will be placed as energy points. It's good for him to also know how to have experienced the energy of crystals before that time. And the allele, ask yourself, why is it mentioned in the Bible? Why were the priests always having a breastplate of 12 crystals? Muhammad is known to have used crystals. The old and ancient civilizations, they used crystals. The generated power of crystals. They had their insights open to crystals. You know, so when you're having this a shower with crystals and everything, and the lights and everything, you ask yourself, what do you want to do with this new energy? And how do you retain these new energies? The person that is using the crystals has to meet the crystals halfway with his intention, with his thoughts, with his volition. You don't just wake up one day and pick up a side crystal and say, okay, I hear this stone brings abundance, and you sleep in your room from morning to night and say, you're going to be a rich person. You'll be the brokest badass on earth. I can tell you that. You will not make one couple. You have to meet it with intention. Or you tell yourself that, oh, I had a heartbreak. Let me put rose quartz in my heart to heal me. Are you also first and foremost ready to forgive the individual and to let go of those hurts? Are you ready to also tell yourself that this person deserves your forgiveness because even you yourself are alive because the Lord forgives you constantly for your own misdeeds? And then you have a right to turn around and say, okay, well, I made a mistake. Let the person make a mistake and let the person get back to you, say sorry. So those are the energetics of crystals. They penetrate very deeply. You know, it's something that is as scientific as it appears spiritual. As a matter of fact, if spirituality and science are divorced, there's still a big problem. It's still part of the problems of the age because all science itself testifies to the spirits. It bears witness to spiritual happenings. And if a human being has lost that capacity to link up with the spiritual capacity and abilities, then he's already subhumans. And he might still need, again, those same crystals to open them up, to authenticate the fact that he is not just the physical body, but he's an embodiment of many bodies in one. I hope this gives us, you know, an insight into what crystals are about, what they represent. There's a whole lot more. You know, one can give lectures on one particular crystal, how to use them, how to unblock the crystal. There are methods of placement of crystals. When you want to energize a person, when you want to remove energy from a person, there are methods of placing crystals around the bed when you're telling yourself you're having nightmares. So, every night I see nightmares. You can put a crystal grid around your bed and then block off energies. You can create a crystal grid around your bed that will allow you to sleep better. You can put crystal grids around your bed that will allow you access certain dreams. But you must not go for a grid that is higher than your energy. You can say, okay, this crystal, they say it does this, it does this, it does that. And for that reason, let me place celestite around your bed. And ask yourself, are you at the vibration of celestite? Celestite is for very mature people. Are you at the vibration of diamond? You want to use it, and you're still holding on to a lot of things that are negative. You have not let go. Are you capable of using that crystal? So sometimes just morph naturally through the things that you see around you, the things that come your way, through things that call you. Learn the simple applications, use them, embody and use the energies wisely, and then grow from there. The more sensitive you become, the more human you become, the more alive you become, the happier you become, the healthier you become. And that is one thing that crystals can do for each and every one of us. And applying this knowledge to the personalities who intend to use crystals, it will advance them a lot in every field, in every endeavor, because it only expands your scope of understanding, expands your health, expands your insights. So I'm hoping that each and every person here today has had a brief insight into healing crystals, what it represents, and their energies. And we're hoping that down the line, we can actually have crystal healing centers and even engagements, public healing spaces where we can actually move in and demonstrate just how efficacious the roles crystals can play in healing. And to the miners, it's very important, you must be very conscious of the stones that you're mining. You just carry stones and put in your house. And then one day you run to your doctor and say you're falling sick all the time. What's wrong? Are you aware of the crystals you've brought into your home? Or do you want to have an office where you keep them? And then you ask yourself, if you keep them in the office, how do you then protect the energies in such a way that it won't affect you or other people? These are things you have to know. How do you mine? Do you mine with love and consideration, or are you ready to scatter a whole estate to get one diamond to bomb the whole place away because of greed? The elemental beings that mine, that guard these gemstones, don't like that. And can actually lead you to the stones without you having to blast the whole place. In fact, I met a miner once, who used to mine diamonds. And I was fated to meet that man many years ago, and I sat down listening to him. And he told me that in his mining experience, his practical mining experience, that whenever, very simple, unassuming man, he said, whenever they went down in those mines where those diamonds were, he said, on the walls, you will see arrows. Then you get to a certain point again, you see an arrow on the wall, and that means keep digging north. You get to another point again, you see another arrow, it's a point left. Keep digging left. You get to that point again, it says keep digging down. And by the time they get to the point, you find the diamond. So if mining were conducted in such a manner with the cooperation of the nature beings, we won't be causing the kind of amount of damage that are causing. There won't be loss of life, there won't be greed and all of that. So I think these values, this understanding of these things should be integrated into the understanding of stones and mining as a whole, so that there's no need for greed, there's no need for exploitation, there's enough for everybody. There's more than enough for everybody. The stones in Nigeria can take care of Africa if mined properly. But I don't know, we're praying that we'll get there one day. We hope that with the renewed focus on mining Nigeria as well, that this might be the pivotal point that'll just change and transform the whole reality. But we must respect crystals, for they are gifts from the Almighty, embodying, like I said earlier, all the frequencies needed to heal. And besides, even today in modern medicine, the rave of the moment now is frequency healing. If you come to my office now and I want to treat you with stones, I would not just put the stones on you, I'll also play music that accords with the frequency of that stone. So you're lying down, you have your earplugs and music plugged into the frequency that is addressing the disease of that ailing organ. There's even something called the solfeggio frequencies. It's something that I want everybody here to go and Google up and get. Solfeggio frequencies. It contains the 9 healthy, necessary frequencies that are needed for the healing bodies. You play it at night, in the morning, you'll be very connected, and working in sync with the crystals, it works really, really quick, So I know I must have passed my time for talking and everything.
Thank you so much.
That's what I have to say.
Wow. Oh, Mr. Charles Ayodada, this is interesting. This is amazing. Thank you so much. In fact, don't let me talk. Let me ask question from our participants. Please do. Anybody ask question? Because I have a lot of questions I want to ask him, but I don't want to be the first one. Please, do you have any question for him? Please raise your hand, then we can take it one after the other. I've learned a lot today. Honestly, yes, thank you so much, Mr. Ayo. So please, do you have any question of our participant, please? Can you raise up your hand if you have any question? I have question, but let me ask. Hello?
That day when I was trapped in town. Many faces flashed.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello, everyone. Does anyone of us have any question? Okay, my president. Please go ahead, sir.
Okay, now, Dr. Ayo, thank you so much for a very deep and comprehensive delivery. we really appreciate you on that. Maybe I missed out on this part, and that is you talk about healing power. And I know that there is always that physical healing, and there is also the healing of the mind. Statistics has it out there that 1 out of 5 has some form of depression or psychiatric ailment. So, do you also handle that in your practice using the healing power of stones?
Thank you. Okay, are you hearing me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go
Okay,
ahead.
okay, beautiful. Okay, there's nothing that responds to crystals more than depression. Now, remember that depression is actually of the higher energy centers, which is the purple light and the indigo lights, and it shows a disconnectedness from self. And once the person is disconnected from self, he can't function because he's not receiving. There's no clarity. The clarity we should receive from the spirit, the clarity we should receive from his intuition, no dreams. He's just existing. So he's in a void. It's actually one of the worst things that can befall a human being. And it's born of spiritual lethargy. He doesn't pray. He doesn't read. He doesn't feed the spirits. Everything you don't use atrophies one way or the other. When you wake up in the morning, you do an exercise, you feed your body, you move around, you use your brain to think. Why do you think your spirit doesn't need to be fed? You have nothing to do to actually activate your spiritual consciousness. You're not meditating. You're not in prayer. You're not reading substance that can feed your spirit. You're not even practicing things, or even humanity or humaneness. So the person goes into a state where his disbelief becomes his greatest problem. And then with the increasing radiations of light that we're experiencing on Earth today, because we're moving to a new age, and this new age demands a higher level of responsibility and consciousness. So you're stagnant, and then the light power is increasing, and then you are being called to account for who you are as a human being, and then you cannot speak up as a human spirit, conscious of the spirits. You receive no impressions that tell you a human being. You have been denigrated to the level of the animal that lives primarily for food, for drink, and for sex. He's no longer a human being. That's depression. So until he has a value system that decides to grow him, he's not going to move anywhere. So first and foremost, there's a need for him to take responsibility. It's not just the crystals that will do it. It's not just the healing sessions, but he has to be made responsible for his own life. He has to understand that there's a network, there's a source that's responsible for everything, which he has to connect to deeply. When he has taken on that responsibility of feeding his energy system, then with crystals like lepidolites, like apophylites, and the necessary adjustments to energy, it can be healed. I give you an example. I give you a practical example. There's one of us, I think she might be on the platform now, whose son had been in Arrow for 5 years. I think he was smoking iguana and a lot of things, and hit depression and was put away. At the clinic here in a month, he was totally recovered. Totally recovered. My only sadness is that when he recovered, he went back to the 419 and the things he was doing before he hit depression. And that is not something we can control either, but we can assist him in getting away from that state and all of that. So it was, and even mental conditions, because the energy of the crown chakra and the third eye chakra is very intense, because that is where energy hits the system. So if you actually infuse a lot of violet lights into that crown chakra and you cleanse it of the negative currents, you're able to give that guy a fresh source of breathing, and you open up his third eye chakra. It's really, really quick. The only time there might be a difficulty is if he has suffered brain damage. And that's not depression any longer, that's a mental state. And brain cells that are damaged are irreversible. So that's what I can't really say what the outcome would be. But for depression, it's massive. It's very high on depression, and it works a lot. But when you're healing, you actually will feel the energy blockage on the crown chakra. And so you're virtually removing the amount of filth, the heaviness in there. And when the person comes to self like this, is restored. But when he has healed, he must then take on the responsibility of maintaining that connection himself, and he'll be totally restored. So I must affirm that it's something we've handled several times, and we're happy to let you know that it's very, very, very efficacious in dealing with such ailments. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Too.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And thank you, Mr. Charles.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone that has question? Any other person?
Questions here the other time. That is very
Yeah,
soon.
please, can I hear you? Someone is speaking. Hello?
Hello, I can hear you.
Okay, Mr. Adamsi Wonko. Please unmute, Mr. Adamsi. Mr. Adamsi, please unmute. Yes, thank you, sir.
Yes, Mr. Dada, I
Yes,
really
please.
appreciate your lectures. It's quite comprehensive. But I would like to know more about the different stones that we better use for different zodiac signs, like for Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, and the rest of them. The stones that are better for them, are
Okay,
okay for them.
I only want to explain the which I tried to do earlier on, which was to explain to you why stones are segregated into the different zodiacs. You know, I explained to you that the different conditionalities under which the human spirit came to existence necessitated that he's birthed under a different frequency, because even the seasons, the temperature, the radiations that flow, like the food, are all frequencies that are adapted to that particular body. Are you clear about that?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. So it happens that a person that's born an Eskimo is one that lives in a very snowy region that they barely have any sunlight, cannot have the same adaptation physically to a person that is born in the desert. His feeling is different. His radiations are different. So quite naturally, even the frequency of the crystals that generate that body will be different from the ones of an African person. Is that clear for you?
Yeah.
Yes. You know, so when you know that and you tell yourself, okay, well, I'm Leo, and they say, okay, well, the zodiac sign for this stipulates that tiger's eye is good for me, then you can understand why tiger's eye will be good for a Leo.
Okay.
You understand?
Just gave that as an illustration. I want to know, like, other zodiac signs, what stones would be okay for them?
Oh, there's a listing
like
of
Venus, like Virgo.
Actually,
Libra,
I actually have a listing of it here. You want me to put it on your screen? I'll put it on the screen for you to see. But I mean, it's just going back to repeat the same thing. You know, it's just like saying, okay, this Tarian energy uses amethyst, Virgo uses moonstone, Libra uses this, Sagittarius uses all of that. They're just listed. But this is the principle behind the listing that I've tried to enunciate to you, which will just tell you that, okay, you can now say, okay, I want a stone for this zodiac, and then we recommend the stone, and then you read about what the energetics of the stone does and to help you. And remember that even in terms of the zodiacs, you have the higher zodiac and you have the lower zodiac. Are you aware?
Yes.
Yes, you know. So it's not a one size fits all, because a person that has not come to a certain consciousness may not derive any benefit from a certain crystal if he has not come as far in his experiencing as to benefit from. So his consciousness is low. So he needs to get to a point where he appreciates what it takes to actually swing in that energy, and then to call him that he'll use it, and then he moves from there. I hope that answers answers the question a little bit. But if it comes to a listing, I can give you a listing that you can run with. And there's so many crystals that actually run with different zodiacs. You can tell yourself that, okay, well, the Libra now, they'll tell you opal, they'll tell you citrine, you know. And usually what they'll do is they'll spell a stone of abundance with one that goes with your energy flow, and then it helps you out.
Okay. Then what best can we use amethyst and quartz for?
Okay, amethyst. Okay, I actually spoke about amethyst, but I'll repeat it. You know, I told you amethyst is the crown. You know, amethyst. I told you is the crown chakra crystal, right? It's a violet color, and it opens you up a lot. It opens up your receptivity to spiritual currents. Once a person needs to come to certain awarenesses of himself, and he finds himself being blanked out and not being able to receive impressions, the first crystal he can do to actually access his higher self is amethyst. Amethyst is also something that's used to potently cure insomnia. If a person is restless and doesn't have any level of peace around him, he can use amethyst to actually dispel those energies that are stressing him, and that will give him a level of peace after the usage. Amethyst is also a crystal that allows the person to manifest his dreams. The person that's not doing as well, that's actually is not able to come to use amethyst, and then he receives clarity in his dreams. On the physical note, people that also have pregnancy issues can use amethyst and they deliver very quickly. For your plants, amethyst is fantastic. If you have plants that are not doing well, you can actually get amethyst water and put your plants inside the amethyst water, and to help your plants to do very well. So it has a whole lot of uses. And then the other crystal, quartz. Quartz is also called the master healer because quartz is the substitute for diamond. Quartz is also an amplifier of energy. Wherever you are ailing and you need to really rapidly heal, once you put quartz there, you remember that quartz can direct energy. I brought out the quartz crystal. This is quartz, and quartz has a point. So if I want to heal an issue with the neck, and I say, okay, I want to point direct. This is a quartz point. I can actually get the quartz here and point here, and I can use this quartz in combination with crystals specific to the throat. It will just send energy there, amplify it, and ensure that it heals very, very quickly. So quartz is also a master healer and amplifies your vibrations. It's fantastic. I use quartz a lot for healing. In fact, it's the major crystal healing stone. If you want to move energy into a system that's very tired, I can get quartz points. I can get about 10 or 12 quartz points and point at the person. And the person just receives energy that restores the system. Sitting down, I can get 2 quartz points. I can get one pointed out like this and another one pointed in and hold them. It will restore and circulate energy through my system. So quartz has varied uses, varied applications, various positions. It's a beautiful stone to handle. So the quartz and the amethyst you have will keep the vibrations of your space very high. You have good crystals.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. So, Dr. Charles, Mr. Adedeji Aturashe, I have a question. His question is, are there crystals that don't go together in terms of using them together? Please, can you respond to that for us?
That's a brilliant question. And I must say that Adedeji is my good friend. He's an avid crystal user and collector that he has. We've sat down and shared very beautiful opportunities together, and his crystals do very well because he's connected to crystal energy. And I think he's asking these questions for the purpose of clarification, so that in getting overtly excited, we don't just go and get energies to clash. I'll give you a typical example. Somebody is suffering from a very low libido.
Okay.
And so tell the doctor, look, that's what's going on. He just doesn't seem to know how to activate that aspect of his life, and he's having the problem.
Okay.
The doctor says, okay, no problem. Let's give you something that will heighten your libido, right?
Okay.
That's what will cure libido. So in the process of using a crystal that will enhance the libido, you must now give him something that now dampens the libido. I can give you an example. Somebody says he's very tired. He wants to sleep, and he's really, really not able to get the sleep he needs as well, and says, okay, let me get my amethyst. We spoke about just now, and my howlite. Howlite is fantastic for resting as well. I want to put my amethyst and my howlite under my pillow. And then, being very ignorant of the way it works, he gets excited and says, okay, put all the crystals under your pillow. And now puts a red crystal like ruby or jasper, which engenders motion and movement. It's a problem. It clashes. He's meant to be resting on one hand. On the other side, he's trying to engender movement on the other hand.
Okay.
It creates a flux of energies, which isn't good. That's one. Then two, and I'm happy because a lot of this comes from my personal experience. It's not just what I'm being told. It's what I had to experience before I taught others. There are times when you are not ready for a crystal. You're not at that level of vibration, because the purer the crystal, you see people talking about pure crystals, no occlusions, clarity, all of that. The purer crystal, the higher the vibration, and that vibration goes in sync with the user who is also standing at that level of vibration. So in situations where, for instance, now I tell myself that I want to be at the level of a person who's a priest, and my character is that of an armed robber, or a person that's very dishonest, and I'm not even ready to be dishonest, but I just think I want to experience the heights of the priest, and I wear, for instance, celestites. I will have nightmares at night. I will not even be able to sleep. It will give you the worst forms of nightmares, because what you would then see in your sleep are corrective elements. They'll come and flog you and say what you are doing is not good. They'll come and flog you and say that you are an armed robber, you're a criminal. They will disturb you to enable you know that you are not at the vibration of that crystal. If you use that crystal, you should swing it at this level. You'll have a problem. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes, because it's not going to give you the bliss you're looking for. Or for instance, now you say, okay, I want to enjoy the feeling of love. This man has spoken about rose quartz being a stone of love. Let me put this crystal around my bed so I can feel love. And then when you get into that crystal like this, you feel like that you can't sleep and you're having a lot of agitation. And say, but this man said that this is a crystal of love. Then, but you ask yourself, what is love? Love is very, very demanding and strict and uncompromising. Love will give you what you need, not what you ask for. If you give a child sweets that he's asking all the time and you can get his teeth rotten, sometimes you have to tell the child no. That's love. If you know that a person is going to go a wrong way and have an accident and he says, let me use your car. I'm not going to give you my car. The guy says, but we're friends. I can't believe you say no. You say no. He misunderstands you, have a problem, and then down the line, somebody else crashes. He says, this guy didn't this car. That was love. So love is severe. So when the vibrations of these crystals hit you, you'll find out that your expectations are not met because you're hoping for a honeymoonish, softish, kind of very embellishing thing that will give you some level of support. And you find out that you're going through harsh experiences. You're not at that vibration. So if you're not at that vibration, the crystal.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. There is Alaire. Alaire Ogo. Please, can you?
It's Alaire. Can you hear me? It's Alaire.
Yes, I can hear. Forgive me that I murdered your name.
No
so
problem.
Please go ahead.
No
please.
problem.
Ask your question.
Wonderful presentation by our sage. My sage. Good afternoon. So my question is, does size matter when it comes to using crystals?
Yes.
For instance, some of us like wearing bracelets. Some of us have tiny crystals. Does size really matter when it comes to enjoying and using the vibrations that come from crystals in terms of healing and everything? Yeah.
Fantastic question.
Yeah.
Fantastic question. Very fantastic question. It must. It must, because if you're conversant of this scientist called Einstein, you know Einstein?
Yes, I do.
Yes, he has this great formula, E equals mc squared, that energy equals mass times the square of the speed of light. That's what energy is. That the mass times the square of the speed of light will give the energy to the substance. So quite naturally, mass plays a part in the energy it emits, because the vibration is intensified as a matter of the mass in terms of what it can absorb. So directly speaking to you, it can. However, this doesn't take away the fact that certain crystals are very, very scarce, very hard to find, and come under a very high frequency because of the structure and the clarity. Take for instance, a diamond. You don't get big diamonds, or you don't get a big moldavite stone. But the frequency is so high by virtue of the vibration and the purity of the crystal that a small piece can give you a lot of energy. But if you have a bigger piece, it will give you a big piece. So it does matter. But it doesn't then mean that an average sized stone will not give you what you need, or that a bigger stone will give you more than the smaller stone if it's bigger. No, it's a question of your own attunement. It will give you what you need, fuse that chakra, heal it, and then take it to where you have to go to. So size matters. Like if I want to grid my house now, I'm not okay, well, I'm moving to a new house and I want the energy to be safe of negative energies. I would like to put big chunks of black tourmaline at the corners of the house. I don't want to put small sizes because those sizes will absorb much more than the smaller sizes, without a doubt. I mean, you can see my cellulite crystal, how big it is.
I saw it. Huge.
Yeah. This is for my space. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
Larry.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Stanley. Okay, there is Toby Babalola. Ma, please.
Am I allowed to ask?
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, my
Is
name
that
Tony
Mrs.
Babalola.
Babalola? Okay, please, go ahead, please.
Yes. So I posted a question. I've learned a lot during this session,
But I wanted to ask, do we really have crystal that can be used to eat diabetes and hypertension?
Oh yeah.
That's one of my questions.
Okay.
And
Okay.
also, what crystal will you recommend for fear?
Okay.
That's my second question. Then my third question, is there a way I can get a recorded version of this session? Because I came a little bit late. I had internet challenges. Thank you, sir.
So is the moderator going to answer that, or do I go ahead?
Yes. Oh, thank you. Yes, Mr. Charles, go ahead. Then Mrs. Babalola, yes, you will get it. Drop your email. Drop your email on the chat box. You will get it. Are you a member of G-Man? Are you a member of G-Man?
I am.
You are? Okay, good, great. Okay.
G-Man.
Okay. Yes.
So my questions now.
So I did explain to you earlier on, that all disease is born of wrong energetics, and those energetics which are constituted from the emotions and the fears and the wrong ways of living actually constitute the disease. And the disease is actually a function of those processes manifesting as symptoms on the body. So what you call disease is not the disease, that's a symptom. So you ask yourself, how do you deal with the root cause of the disease? So yes, diabetes does have crystals that deals with it. You have things like bloodstone. You have these, and you also have citrine. Citrine is especially good because citrine works on the pancreas, and the insulin deficiency that you have, which is usually what causes diabetes, is also the insufficient yellow light of the solar plexus chakra. So if you do have enough of that light in your system, it activates the work of the pancreas. Insulin is secreted and it fights it even more. But this must be done in combination with all else we've spoken about, including even proper feeding. Nothing is done in isolation. It's a holistic thing. So if you want to get diabetes, you ask yourself, why is it that you even have diabetes in the first place? Because there's a whole list I presented to you earlier on that tells you about diabetes. Do you remember?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so you ask yourself, let me see,
Yes,
if I had that thing, I would have gone back to say, okay, well, what's likely to have caused diabetes? Because you ask yourself, let's go to the stem and say, okay, well, let's deal with it from where the problem is coming from, or where the problem is likely to come from. So if you are now able to deal with that emotional issue, then one can fight the diabetes directly. Do you understand? So it's for me.
Yes,
diabetes here is saying a longing. The energy problem is a longing for what might have been, a great need to control, deep sorrow, no sweetness left. Are you hearing? Listen to me properly.
I'm hearing. Yeah, I'm with you, sir.
Longing for what might have been, which means that maybe somebody is waiting for marriage and it hasn't come, and the person that has just put himself in this place of unnecessary sorrow, because marriage is not even compulsory, and not everybody get married. And then the person is longing for one thing, it is beginning to chew away at your blood and causing you not to really convert your insulin to, and then it's just a great need for control. Some people just need to control others. Deep sorrow, why are you so unhappy? So that's the way the body responds, no sweetness left. Some people are just unnecessarily bitter and remote and very nasty with other people because they feel that life has given them a very nasty blow. So the first thing you want to do is that you want to deal with those issues. That's your own contribution first.
Yeah.
I understand. So if you find out that
yes, I'm with you.
If you find any of those situations, first of all address it. And then after you've addressed it, you have cut off the roots, the stem cause of the cause, then you apply the right light and energy and the person heals. There's something that also happens here, which I'll mention, which is a grace, which is just the grace of God that has been given to us in the clinic. We do magnetic healing. Now, magnetic healing means that we don't know what's wrong with you, and we don't want to know what's wrong with you. We just run our hands over your body, and we can feel that there's a bump here, there's a bump here, but just non-physical contact. You just get to the person's neck, and you're feeling there's a bump there. And then all of a sudden, your hand starts to pull light. Now, in that kind of healing, the universe is just giving you what you need. It's not asking us. We're not asking questions. It's not a mental thing. We don't know. It's just going to say, okay, this person is open for healing, because you must be open for healing. Not everybody that comes to a healer is healed. I hope you know that.
Yes, sir, I do.
Not everybody that came to Christ was healed. I hope you know that.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
I
there were
do.
people. There were people that had to jump through a roof and told themselves that if we could just touch
To
the
get
hem
their
of his garment,
yeah.
if we can touch the hem of his garment, that we have received the healing.
healed.
It's because of their openness. They were able to. There's a condition of the spirit and the soul that says this is an envoy of light, and if this envoy of light that bears so much will get to me, that my own energy will be restored. So you must have the belief in the process, and the process is not the person healing; it's the universe.
Right.
Yes. So the first thing is, let me cut off the flow of negative energy. Let me adapt myself and reorient myself towards higher values, higher confirmations, and then ask the Lord to forgive me for whatever it is I may have done wrong. Because that's always the first step. We're never ready to admit that we're the cause of our own woes and failures. Everything wrong with a human being starts from him. There are no incidences that allows you to have a problem that you didn't put into creation. It's what you put in, you get out.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Hello, am I allowed to say something?
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello. Mrs. Babalala.
Sisi Eniola, am I allowed to say something?
Yes.
Please quickly go ahead, please.
Okay.
Please go ahead. Go ahead.
Dr. Dada, thank you. This has been a really, really very exciting session. I'm particularly excited about the spiritual aspect, the spirituality, and the resonance with nature and the creator, and the fact that there's nature, mankind is in dissonance presently. I thank you so much for that part. But now I want to bring you back to the black gemstones, because that wasn't that wasn't very clear to me. Now, I'm an October person, and black tourmaline is supposed to be an October stone, which actually found it was posted on the G-Man platform. That's how I got to know about it. I want to ask, you said that black gemstones absorb negative energy. So when they absorb the negative energy,
they're also grounding. They're also grounding.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to see that I got what you said right. That I want to make sure that I understand it. So that means it's good for us to wear these black gemstones because they absorb the energies and kind of like protect us. Is that what it does?
Yes, of course, it's fantastic to do that. I wouldn't go into a healing session without wearing one of my black crystals. I wouldn't go to a strange occasion or a place where I'm not feeling, intricately comfortable without coming with a crystal that will tell me, okay, well, you know what? Let me even breathe myself and be protected from energies that I do not understand. Because you do have people that project energies. Remember, there are people who psychically send energies to people, which can cause just about any disease.
So that means that if I wore a black tourmaline to an event where there's a lot of negative energy, it would affect the person adversely, because one would be okay.
No, it'll form a shield around you. And there are also other crystals that are also particularly fantastic in shielding your energies from negativity currents. There are also people called psychic vampires. There are people who can come in and drain you when you're in certain gatherings, and you feel drained because you went in
emotional, spiritual vampires. A friend of mine calls them spiritual.
Spiritual vampires. So if you have crystals like labradorite will shield you effectively from psychic vampirism.
So is it good to wear or not good to wear? That's what I want to know.
It's fantastic to wear, and it's fantastic for the Libra because the Libra tends to float a lot. The Libras are dreamers. They have a lot of ideas and they're excitable. They're in many places. So the Libra needs to be grounded from time to time. So it's a fantastic
the
Libra, yeah. So anything that grounds, any grounding crystal is good for the Libra. Fantastic stones for him.
Okay.
By the way, I'm a Libra, so I understand this.
So it absorbs the energy, negative energy, but it doesn't get to you.
No, it doesn't. But sometimes the stone can get shattered. If the impact is so nasty, the stone breaks into pieces and virtually dies
Okay.
on your behalf. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Hello,
Thank
hello,
you.
ma.
Yeah.
Sorry, my second question have not been answered. This is Toyin
Which
Babalola.
other?
What's the
What's
second
the
question,
second
please?
question?
I spoke about what crystal can be used to, as in for fear, something like that. I think I dropped the
For what?
question on the stuff. What crystal would you recommend for fear? You've not answered that. For fear,
Tiger's
if
eye,
you are scared,
tiger's eye,
what
tiger's
crystal
eye,
will you recommend for
tiger's eye,
that?
tiger's eye, and tiger's eye. Maybe
Tiger's eye.
Tiger's eye. Okay,
Tiger's
okay,
eye.
okay,
tiger's
sir.
eye. Mm.
Tiger's eye.
I got
Okay.
it. All
Okay.
right.
Can I just drop my own contribution? There's someone that wants to Emechete. Okay, please can you unmute and ask your question? Yes, Emechete. Please.
Hello, good afternoon.
Please unmute. Yeah, good
I hope
afternoon.
you
Good
can hear
afternoon.
me.
Yes,
Okay,
we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
thank you. Well, thank you, Dr. Charles, for this really wonderful and powerful session. I'm logging on from London, England, so sitting here for 2.5 hours, I can tell you I've enjoyed every single bit of it. So thank you. My only question is this: if you're a collector of several different crystals, what's the best way to store them? Because I have been collecting crystals for years now, and I've gotten carried away over the years with just buying so many different crystals, bracelets, necklaces, and the tumble stones and everything. And I usually worry, can you keep all of them in one room, in one cupboard, in one wardrobe? Because especially when we talk about certain crystals not complementing each other. So, sometimes I feel like, should I just let all of them out and, allow them to breathe, or should I hide some away? And, so I just wanted to hear your thoughts on how you store your crystals. I've been to your home and you have lots of crystals and they're just there really talking to us as we walk into the room. So I wanted to, just have your take on that, how to store the crystals properly. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a very sensitive question and a very beautiful one at the same time. And it's very deep. It's very deep because I went into different dimensions when you were asking that question, because I had that early experience. When I used to buy arts initially, I used to love art. I buy art all the time. I used to spend almost all my money just buying art. I love art. I'm an art lover. But when I bought crystals, I realized I didn't have an addiction for art at all. I went crystal gaga. Because everywhere I went, it was one crystal or the other one calling me. Because it's just irresistible. The allures of the crystals, they kept on calling, So the first thing to realize there are some of you who, as healers, have work to do with crystals and will have to collect and to cope with the energies in a way that many others will not be able to cope with. That's the first thing. If you have a calling for a duty, it comes with an empowerment that gives you the capacity to cope with it on a spiritual level. That's one. Then two, I did have that problem initially. I just noticed I had developed insomnia. I moved into my house like this, and then I could feel the waves of energy. It was really heavy, and then I couldn't sleep. Then it went on for weeks. And so I started telling my friends, look, I'm having a problem. I can't sleep in my house. It's okay. How do you expect to sleep in your house? You have all that energy there and everything. Somebody says, you get a black curtain and cordon off your room with a black curtain. Maybe that'll keep the energy away. I said, no way, that doesn't appeal to me. And the other guy says, okay, maybe every night before you sleep, try and drill yourself with selling crystals and everything. I said, yeah, but you have to do that all the time. It means that the energy of my home is not in sync and everything. So I was thinking of all the methods I want to use to actually protect oneself from that amount of energy. And then after like about 2 weeks of not sleeping, I just walked into my sitting room and I said, hey guys, I can't sleep. I am tired. I didn't buy crystals so I cannot sleep. I bought it so I could use it for people, for healing, for everything. And now I can't sleep. And you know what happened? They just toned the energy down. They just toned the energy down. And from that day to this time, I've never had a problem with it. Now that brings in a very important dimension, which I played down because when you're dealing with a public fora, you try to get more rational than spiritual so that everybody can follow. Because not everybody will see it from a spiritual angle. But the truth is that these crystals have guardians. They have living beings attached to them. is no different from the person, the herbalist, who goes into the forest and says, Ugochukwu is sick and is in need of help. Please help me. And then he sees the different crystals that he needs calling him. He plucks them up, and then he goes to his cauldron, cooks the leaves, and then the guy heals. He doesn't even know the name of the leaves. He's probably not even seen some of the leaves before. But those leaves speak to him and say, this is what you do. Now, that is medicine as an art. It's not written that when the person has this, do this. No. Ugochukwu's condition needs this combination. Now that person is open. There's a book, that was written called The Gemstone Guardians. Elizabeth Norton and one of the Michael Faraday or thereabouts in America. These are major crystal healers. They have a crystal cabinet in the US. They're doing fantastic crystals. At a point in time when it was time for them to be taken to the next level, the crystal beings appear to them and say, you know what? I am in charge of amethyst. And you saw his form, purple, flowing, glowing. He took the people back and said, I have been used in Egypt, in Babylon, in India. These are the things I do. And then he writes a whole book coming from the knowledge of the animistic beings that are teaching him about the crystals. Now, if we don't get to that point in terms of learning, then we have stagnated. And I can tell you that humanity has stagnated a long time ago. The people in the Bible that used those crystals because they needed as priests. They needed to keep on receiving impressions. And those impressions were to guide them along their lines of spirituality. So it's the same thing with you. If you are so endeared with crystals, haven't done the rites that we have, the cleansing, the whatever, you'll cope with it because they can even form bubbles around you to ensure that this energy does not affect you. Are you aware?
That's nice.
Yes.
Thank you very much for that.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
I'll give you further corroborations. I'll give you two extraordinary corroborations. One is Dakwa Direle. Maybe even though he's on Facebook and everything. There was a time that he was going to school as a young man, and this massive lightning bolts came all the way down. I was headed for him. He looked up terrified, and by the time it got to him, the thing spread round like a basket and formed an energy current around for seconds and dissipated. It didn't hit him. I have the second friend that they left for dead in the ocean, who purportedly drowned, who walked from the bottom of the ocean all the way back in a bubble of air. What do you call that? He was underwater for like 2 hours. He walked from the middle of the sea back. So if we don't understand the phenomena of nature and how the elemental beings can take us to the next level, even our inventions and everything, they're given to us by these sources. It's not like we can think these things out. They're given to us. The greatest inventors and co-sleep and they receive these things. So we must become receiving beings. And that's why I said that the various codes of energy that should make us human beings, we should be restored with the energetics of crystals and good living. That's my take on it. Are you there? Can't hear anything.
Hello.
Hello, I'm here.
Oh, okay. The last speaker. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Charles. Please give me a second.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Charles, and thank you, everyone. I think we've tried. This is 2 p.m. and we've all gained a lot. I want to ask a question, but not really a question. I think it's a contribution to buttress what you've said today, what you've spoken about gemstones, spirituality, and the benefits. There's something you said about cancer, which I can attest to it. I lost my husband to cancer of the colon. Yes, that was 10 years ago, yes. And I run a foundation on cancer now. That's Neola Cancer Care Foundation. Is the first colorectal cancer NGO in West Africa. And what I realized in the journey with my late husband, life is spiritual, and we need to work on ourselves. He was bottling up a lot of things before he got that disease. And I was thinking it was something else because this unemployment has been on in Nigeria, not today. And as a graduate that didn't have a job at that time, I thought that was what was bothering. I never knew. And it was bothering out a lot of things. My husband would just sit down, he would start saying, Nigeria, it is me. There should be war. The negativity was too much until he had cancer. Then when we got to India, the spiritual aspect of cancer, I learned a lot. I learned that we must not live on unforgiveness. You must not allow negativity to take over yourself, your body, your soul. It affects us. And also, my visit to other countries on gemstone exhibitions, conferences, I also learned the spirituality of gemstones, but not as in depth as what you taught me today. So thank you so much. What you said is absolutely correct. See, we are Christians, but at the same time, God created all these things. And there's a purpose why he created all these stones. And they all have their purpose in humanity. And we must start looking inward. Thank you so much. I don't really sleep for some time now. When you were talking, I had to quickly make Dr. Chelsea, because I'm in my showroom. I have to quickly make amethyst gemstone. I'm going to start wearing almost every day. And I'm going to put one under my pillow. I never knew that amethyst is very good when you have insomnia. I'm dealing with insomnia presently. And also, I've gone through some strange things in life. I'm not going to talk about my life story yet. It's not about me. But sometimes, and I wonder why those things didn't consume me. These are life-threatening issues. And at the end of the day, I got saved. And I started thinking, is it because I'm selling raw stone? Because I actually work with stones, natural stones. For the past 20 years, I've been dealing on stones. And I know they do have their own spiritual properties, benefits, and all that, but I don't really know the in-depth. Do you understand? But listening to you today, I was like, there was flashback that, this thing that happened, is it because this? Is it because I'm into stone? Is it because I'm doing this and all that? So thank you so much. Personally, I'm grateful for this. I think this has really helped me. And after this lecture, I'm going to engage you. I remember you came to my stand in Ibadan. I'm going to engage you. Then on behalf of G-Man, we want to say thank you, sir. We really appreciate you. And I want to say something on behalf of G-Man. We need you to come back. This lecture is lengthy, and I'm sure you've not even covered everything. We need to do it again. If we have to do it in series, why not? Then in our next conference in Ibadan, we can have a master class, honestly, because there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn. We are blessed with a lot of things, and we don't even know. We don't even know. As I've said, there's some strange things that do happen to me, and I wonder what's up. Since I've been selling gemstones only, thief has not robbed me.
Fantastic.
Thief, they have not robbed me. I work with people's diamond. They give it to me in their set, diamond set. As in, I don't look for it. When I get a style that normally steal, they will just walk away. They don't take my things. Even when they take pieces, they've not stolen things that will hit me hard. They've not. I'm telling you, so it's so strange sometimes. And I'm like, it's nothing now. I'm not doing any other thing. I'm not. So I really appreciate it. On behalf of Jima, myself, and every participant here, we say good afternoon. We say thank you. We appreciate you. We look forward to more collaborations Thank you so much. And everybody that will find time to join us in the last 3 hours, thank you so much. God bless you. We appreciate you. If you're not a member of G-Man, if you know anybody that's into jewelry, that does gold mining, please tell them about G-Man. You can Google us. We are on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and you can visit our website. Thank you. You have a blessed day. Thank you, everyone.
I thank the technician that came here to help me put this thing together because my computer was giving me wahala. If not for her.
Oh, really? Oh, thank you so much, our technician. No, if not, we would have missed. We would have missed a lot. And thank you so much, every ESCO member. Thank you, my president. Thank you so much. Do have a beautiful day. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone. Bye. Yeah, bye. Bye.